Blackline Brief starts now.
What is up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hope you guys are all having a good day so far and a good week. Boy, do we have a good show lined up for you. And even as I was like up to the last minute, man, you know, it's going to be so cool when everything finally works out to where I can do this full time, because it's getting tight there sometimes, you know. I was just watching Jay Dyer and Tucker Carlson because I hadn't made it far enough along in that episode that they did to get to the part where I just did. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to play this part. But it wasn't really in where it was like part of the show yet. So anyway, happy Tuesday. Welcome to another episode of the Blackline Brief. I'm your host, Matthew McKim, and we're going to have a good show today, ladies and gentlemen. So as you guys come in, please do me a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's the best way. Or please, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do. We're all adults here. I'll just ask you, could you please do me a favor, hit the like, hit the subscribe. It's the best way to help support the channel, and I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much. All right. Look, you guys, let's see. I need to back this train up because I got to a certain point with this schmo. All right, let's see. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start with Frank Turek, and we're going to look at some things Jack Posobiec said, James Kaddis, Andrew and Blake, some from the day after the assassination. I found a clip of Blake. Wait, no, of Jack and Andrew. Or is it Blake? I think it's Jack and Andrew. Yeah. Jack and Andrew on September 11th, man. Crazy stuff that they said that day. And then they're even referencing like conversations and things they were thinking on the night of the 10th. And I was like, what the heck? You guys are weird, man. These guys are not good people, not good people. But let's start with Frank Turek. And because these guys just don't know when to shut up, man. I mean, I guess they think they are doing a good job as much as they think that Tyler Robinson's probable cause, the level of probable cause was met last week, like the mountain of evidence, the overwhelming evidence that all of us were like waiting for. They kept saying like it's overwhelming. And then we were watching and we're like, what are you talking about? And that's what, like, it's so hard for me to understand with these people. Looking at the videos that they swear proves it's Tyler, you know, or the testimony of Lance. Who else was there with when Tyler came home and said these things, when Tyler came home and was crying, when Tyler sent these texts, when Tyler posted these Discord chats, when Tyler wrote this note? All of the things that they're trying to use to prove premeditation and guilt and confession all come from Lance. There's not one piece of evidence outside of that proves premeditation and guilt. We haven't heard anything from the parents. Supposedly they turned him in. Supposedly he confessed to them. We didn't hear that last week. We didn't see anything to that nature. So, I mean, everything rests on freaking Lance Luna Twigs, man. But let's get right into it. Yeah, let's get right into it. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
To Erika and her team. None of us who were witnesses that day, the day of the murder, were actually allowed to go into the courtroom. So I just stayed back at the hotel with the other witnesses. And
that's interesting. So did you guys know that? Did you guys? Well, I don't know that Blake went. Uh-oh. Did that just? I just saw it skip. Hopefully it didn't. Did you guys know that the other witnesses went to Orem that day? So I'm pretty sure, wasn't Blake? No, Blake was streaming from the Y-Refi studio in Arizona, and Andrew was there for some of the days, and then he went to DC. And I actually think so. Andrew said it today. They have a new mobile studio in DC. That's that set that you guys keep seeing with Andrew, and it's got like the green screen and the glass covered desk that he's on. I don't know if they purchased some building. He calls it a mobile studio. But so Andrew was out there half the week towards the CLS conference. I didn't mean to hit the table. Sorry. But I bet Mikey went. I wonder if who were the other witnesses that were part of the team? Terrell Farnsworth maybe went. And some of the security team. He says the other witnesses were there for support. They weren't allowed in the courtroom, but they were back at the hotel. So, yeah, that was interesting.
Watched some of the proceedings and waited for Erika and the team to come back to talk to them and comfort them. You know, it tore me up every day to hear about her crying in the gallery when certain things were said or done.
You know, when like I was planning this show, like the thumbnail and the title was more based on like everything that had preceded me fully watching this episode. And then it's so crazy that we're so spot on with our analysis of them and what they're trying to do with Erika Kirk, and how like in the first couple minutes of this episode, he's like, and she was crying in the gallery and we had to comfort her. It's like, okay, yeah. You gotta squeeze every last drop out of that emotional asset, as what's his name? Pete Hegseth in the Department of War said. She's a valuable emotional asset, ladies and gentlemen. Please make sure to boost her videos all over social after the White House Correspondents' Dinner. We gotta get that out here. Get that out of here, man, and make sure everyone's clicking on that crime. I want to go home. I just want to go home. And then she goes to Michigan. She didn't even go home. She didn't even go home. I didn't know which quote to use. You'd be like, E.T., Erika, just go home. If you want to go home, Erika. Your kids want you to go home, I bet. Thank you so much. Hey, you gifted 5 Black Line Brief memberships. Thank you. All right, let's get back to Frank Turd Turkey.
A few times, of course, she had to leave for obvious reasons.
Obvious.
And she didn't want to hear anything about the actual physical nature of the murder. I get it. I don't want to hear about it either.
Well, that's not true. She stayed in the courtroom, Frank. Are you lying, or did she lie to you? Oh, wait, my thing's not up. Hold on. I don't know why it wasn't up. It should have been up the whole time. Remember, Erika was in the courtroom of the playing of the video, the enhanced 4K clear video where you can see his face. You know, you could totally tell it's Tyler Robinson. You could see the barrel of the gun as he pulls it out of his pants. He assembles it in the crouched position, and then he runs out to the corner, low crawls, gets in the shooting position, and you see him take the shot. Do you see him pull the trigger? No, but you see him take the shot. These liars. So she didn't ever want to see the video of Charlie being killed, but she wanted to see him in the hospital dead. And then she's in the courtroom and leaves at certain points when they're talking about it. But then she insists on staying in the courtroom when they play the Sasquatch roof video of Eagle Boy. And supposedly that's when she breaks down just uncontrollably. And supposedly Charlie's mom and dad console her. If I were to be honest, if I were Charlie's mom and dad and I saw that video, I'd be pissed. If I had a child that was assassinated and I'm in the courtroom and I'm watching that video and all the videos that preceded it that week that were grainy and unclear and total BS. You're like, that's not the same person. That's not even you. What are you talking about? And then they play the roof video and they upsell it all week. Enhanced 4K, high def. They're like, we got it. We put a compilation of Tyler Robinson's best hits. That's what they're saying. Remember, Andrew and Jack, they're like, it's basically like John Madden. It's a John Madden style video of Tyler Robinson assassinating Charlie Kirk. It's going to be great. It's got zoom in. It's got circles. It's got arrows. In case you didn't know where to look, it's going to tell you right here. If I were Charlie's parents and I saw that video, I'd be pissed. I'd get up and storm out. I'd look at Erika and I'd be like, you are freaking evil. Later, and I'd be done. And I would say my silence and walking out the courtroom would be a statement. I'd be like, Tyler didn't do it. Whoever that was on that roof wasn't Tyler. He didn't do it. That video doesn't show anyone doing anything except for climbing a railing, running, low crawling, laying down. Maybe he took like a 2-second, 3-second nap. And then someone like gave him the alert in his earpiece and they're like, bro, it's time to run. And then he gets up and runs and he jumps off the roof like Spider-Man.
One of the most chilling things that came out of the preliminary hearing last week was that Tyler Robinson said he wished that he hadn't done it, that he hadn't.
I told you that, Frank. How do you know that? How do you know that's a fact? How can you regurgitate that on your own show as a statement of fact? Because the only person that claims that statement as authentic and honest and true is Lance freaking Twiggs. No one was there to hear it. No one was there to witness it, but that guy. And his tail is also simultaneously on the hook. In case Tyler's isn't, he's next. His DNA is all over everything, Frankie boy. Everything. His fingerprints, his DNA, okay? On the Dremel tool, on the bullets, on the ammo, on the gun, on the towel, on the screwdriver. It's on it all. And honestly, all Lance had to do was have his hair cut shorter at that time. We didn't see any photos of him for months. By the time we saw who they say is Lance Twiggs in Texas filling up his Infinity, I don't even think that's the same kid, dude. Honestly, it doesn't look like the same kid. But the guy in the photos and the videos on campus that day, just as likely to be Lance as it is Tyler. That's what I'm saying. These guys need to be consistent at least and say there's a possibility that if all the DNA that we're pointing to points to Tyler as being the guilty suspect and the person that assassinated Charlie. Well, if then there's another person's DNA that also lived in the house and has DNA and fingerprints over all the same items and is a teenager and is the same size and complexion and about the same build, it could be him in those photos. He had access to Tyler's car. He took the whole day off. Tyler rides with his work buddies in a work truck. Who had Tyler's car that day? Not Tyler.
Murdered Charlie. Now, I can only wonder if he meant because it was wrong to do, or he meant he was upset that he got caught, that he wished he hadn't have done it because he got caught and now is going to have to face the consequences, it appears anyway.
Do you guys think that he was really so distraught? I was in an X space this morning talking about this. For someone that pulled off the assassination of literally our lifetime, supposedly, allegedly, I don't think he did, but let's just humor me to get through this. Dude has an iron stomach. Supposedly, he was on campus planning the assassination, like scoping it out. Like, that's where I'm going to do it up there. That's where he's going to be in that tent. I'm going to go talk to some TPUSA staff and get some, like, what time is he going to be here? What time will he be speaking? Blah, 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 blah. And then I'm just like, I'm bored. I'm going to go eat at Chick-fil-A. So I'm just going to walk in the Sorensen building. I like the Polynesian sauce. I also like the Oreo milkshake that Chick-fil-A has. Crisp cut fries, extra crispy, please. Chick-fil-A sauce. I like to dip my fries in it. I like the Polynesian sauce for my sandwich. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to go home and chill for a bit. I'm going to drive around, get caught on camera everywhere. and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to leave. And 15 minutes later, shoot, that was a lot of work. I'm hungry. I want to go to Dairy Queen. I need a blizzard, okay? I don't know about you. I like the cotton candy blizzards. I just had one the other day. It looks like, supposedly, Tyler Robinson likes them too. He also had a box of like chicken nuggets or whatever else you get at Dairy Queen. I don't recommend buying food from Dairy Queen, by the way, just the ice cream. But Tyler did. Tyler had a full-on meal at Dairy Queen. But that wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. He got bored. So he drives 3 hours down to Panguitch and he goes to Cowboys Steakhouse. And he's like, I need a full-on meal. Steak, potatoes, 2 beers, please. Chilling, not worried that he just used his debit card. Not worried if there's cameras anywhere. And he used his debit card at Chick-fil-A. Don't know if he used his debit card at Dairy Queen. Not really worried about getting caught anywhere. And he's just eating like a champ. All to then turn around and text his lover, say that he's so sorry, I did it. Go look at the note. Yes, it was me. Yes, I'm serious. I had to do it, blah, blah, blah. And then he drives home and supposedly is like crying and like pacing around the house. And he's like, I wish I wouldn't have done it. It's not the same person. The same person that could do that and then eat freaking 4 meals, 3, but like they were big. So I'm like, round up. Isn't the person that's going to get home like 8 hours later, 10 hours later and be like, I feel so bad. It just isn't, it does not compute.
This is just a preliminary hearing. It's just to find probable cause, and the judge will decide whether probable cause exists on September 1st. We all know the answer is absolutely it does. But
oh my gosh, he's got like a small circus of mice in his pocket. He's speaking on behalf of all of us. We all know that it does, Frank. I don't know what you were watching in the hotel room in Orem on the week of the preliminary hearing. We all watched it. I watched it. Then we replayed parts of it. I don't think he met probable cause. I think that they're still going to push it all the way through because it's a new judge. It's his first seat. He's like, I don't want to make waves, and probably push it through and let all the evidence air out in the trial. But like, honestly, if we're just looking at what they presented last week and go like, yeah, he probably did it. That's what probable cause. Like, yeah, he probably did it. It's probable. It's probable. Did he? I don't know. That's why we got to go to trial, but it's probable. I don't even think it's probable. That's what I'm saying. Overwhelming. The most overwhelming evidence I've ever seen. There was more evidence of OJ. Well, I think OJ did do it, though. That's my personal take on that.
of course, he has to go through the formality. And if you're wondering why the judge has been so cautious and he has continued to defer to the defense in so many different ways, it's because in order for you to appeal a decision, you just can't say, well, I don't like it. I'd like a retrial. I don't like the result. You have to find some problem in procedure that the judge made in order for you to say the trial's invalid for this particular reason or for that particular reason. So it appears the judge is trying to be overly cautious so as not to be overturned on appeal.
And that's a bad thing. That's a bad thing when someone's literal life and freedom and his life is on the line. He's going to be cautious to make sure that he doesn't rush to judgment, make any errors in any part of the process. Man, I know that's just an inconvenient truth for you. That it's like, man, why couldn't we just execute him? And we just, like we did with, Lee Harvey and Jack Ruby, we just get someone and we just take him out.
That's wise to do. In some cases, though, he seems to be going overboard in that direction. In fact, he always seems to want to split the baby. Someone will object, and instead of saying sustained or overruled, he'll say, well, sustained in this regard, overruled in that regard. We'll see where all this goes, but some of the evidence that was presented, as you have seen, and then I'm going to get to your questions. By the way, we have a couple of questions to get to. One of them related to this. We've seen video of Tyler Robinson on campus. We've seen video of him fleeing.
No.
We've seen a rifle, a screwdriver, and a towel all have his DNA and that of his roommate.
Yes. Someone in my comments was like, his roommate's DNA wasn't on any of it. And I was like, you're an idiot. Yes, it is. Okay. Him and Tyler and like a minimum of 4 contributors to each piece of physical evidence. And Lance is on everything. He's all over it. That's what happens when you frame someone. You make sure that they touch it, and then you have to put it there and say they put it there, and then get an immunity deal, and then just point at your roommate. That's how it's done. Patsies are made 101. Tyler Robinson, Lance Twiggs. Just watch it all go down.
Or roommate/lover on it, Lance Twiggs. And I saw one person on the stand say it's less than 1 in a trillion that Tyler Robinson's not the person on here.
No, it's less than 1 in a trillion that specific DNA sample has his DNA in it. There was multiple contributors to like all the samples, and that it's like 1 in a trillion that Tyler's DNA isn't one of those 4, 5, 6. They said a minimum of 4. Could be 5, could be 6, could be 7. Who knows? Yes, but it would be his DNA and fingerprints would be on his own belongings. Like, hey, my fingerprints are going to be on my notebook. My fingerprints are going to be on my phone. If I have a towel, which I just wiped my face with before we went on show, so I'm not too shiny, my DNA's all over that. If someone came and snatched it, like someone of my roommate, I don't have a roommate, but if I did, and they snatched it and they threw it in the scene, dude, I'm screwed. Especially if that dude goes like, he sent me all these text messages. He wrote this note and I burned it. He told me, he was crying and he told me, yeah, that's how it's done, Frank. You're such an idiot.
We've seen text messages that include a confession. We've seen a note left behind that includes a confession.
You don't see a note left behind, you freaking idiot. You're such an idiot. You see little burnt up pieces of paper that they're telling us is the note. You see on one of the biggest pieces of the burnt note, you see like 2 letters and a period, or it's 3 letters, ED, and then the space underneath is like a Y or a T and then a period. However, we got to see the note. People froze the screen when they accidentally showed us a note. I combed through that note, unless there's more to the note that they haven't showed, which I think there is because it like cuts off on a line and you're like, oh, there's more of a note there and they don't show us. But the part that they showed us, it does not match up with those burned pieces of note. But you didn't see a note. No one saw a note. The note was burned, you moron. How convenient.
We've seen testimony from his roommate and lover that includes a confession. Also, the fact that he was etching bullets with evil messages on them. His roommate admitted that.
Notice that everything he's going to quote, it all comes back to Lance. His roommate told me. His roommate said this. His roommate... Of course, his roommate's going to say these things if he was part of it. I was thinking about this the other day. I'll have to get my thoughts. I'll let it play through. And then as I gather my thoughts, I'll explain what I think maybe happened.
Also, the fact that Robinson cried and said he wished he hadn't done it. So we've got confessions in 3 different ways. The text also show motive, that he thought Charlie was a hater and some hate can't be negotiated out. We've also...
Well, that's weird because Lance said Tyler never talked to him about Charlie Kirk. That means Lance would have no context for that letter. Okay. Lance testified that Tyler never spoke Charlie's name to him. Never came up once. Didn't even talk politics. Didn't talk LGBTQ, trans, furry, none of that. Said he did say a couple things about some legislation that he heard probably on his way to work in the work truck with his work, associates, and they were listening to some political radio show. But that was it. Had to do about like legislation and things like that. So you're telling me he never says anything, and then he does this thing, says that's why he's motivated to do it because you're trans. He's not, but he loves you. And he was so mad that Charlie was against this, but he never tells you that. He just does it. And then after the fact, he tells you, this is why I did it, and it was for all this. And you're not like, how come you never mentioned that before? I would have talked you out of it. This is the first time I'm hearing you say Charlie Kirk's name and talking about trans violence or trans anything. They said they never even talked about it, which makes sense. These kids these days, what can you say? Not good communicators.
So the texts also show that Tyler Robinson said he left the rifle in a certain spot, and that is exactly where it was found by police.
Isn't it convenient that all of the evidence that Lance Twiggs brings to the table and references and the text messages and the Discord, all it It solidified premeditation and a confession of guilt. Just what they needed. Without that, if you remember to go back, Kash Patel admitted they had no leads. Nothing. Well, that would make sense if, like Benny Johnson said, there were state actors involved. And Kash already knew who did it. So he can't say what they're actually going to do. He's got to let it unfold. He's just got to let it unfold. And all the agents in the field have to do their job. But I think it's pretty interesting that Kash in the beginning admitted they had nothing. Wow. And then Tyler just came in and was like, it was me. No, this is what I think. And I'll play a clip. I can't play the video because it's Tucker and Jay Dyer. Anything on Tucker, every time I play it, my video gets dinged. So we're just going to listen to it. Hopefully that's going to be okay with you. But what I think happened is people can even participate in things without even knowing they're participating in that thing. They could think it's something else. They could be told it's something else. They could think they're working for this group and they're actually working for that group over there and have no idea until the actual crime occurs. And then they're like, holy smokes. That's what I was doing this whole time. I was a part of that. And I think Tyler was like, holy smokes when he found out. I think he talked to his LDS member person, scoutmaster friend, who then talked to the parents, and they convinced him, once Tyler confessed to the portion of what his involvement was in this other thing that he didn't know was going to be the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And he told them that they're like, we need to get you into the authorities. We need to get you in there. You need to tell them everything you just told us. But then when he does that, he doesn't realize that Lance Twiggs and everyone else that he thought was working for is actually all the feds and state actors. And they were always going to pin it on him. He just didn't know that. And Lance Twiggs was always setting him up, but Tyler just didn't know that. So when Tyler goes in thinking he's going to help them out, they realize, you're the guy, though. No, Lance is our guy. You're the guy we're pinning it on. And I think that's where it really went awry. That's where I'm at right now with it, at least.
And all of this shows premeditation.
Oh, there it is.
So quite obviously, there is probable cause for a trial. And look, if we're being realistic and we're dispensing with all the formalities,
please do. It
sure looks, as Jonathan Turley of George Washington University said, this is a slam dunk conviction. The only question is he going to go and his team going to go to the prosecution and try and plea it down?
He thinks that that's the only likelihood. That's the only outcome, right? It's just a foregone conclusion to all these people working for the state, right? You know? Oh man, I don't, at least he didn't say overwhelming, you know? At least he didn't use the same word as everyone else for the last week and a half. At least he said slam dunk. At least it's a new phrase they use when talking about how, solid this case is against Tyler Robinson.
And say, okay, I'm guilty, but don't murder. No, we can't murder a true killer. Don't kill me. If he truly did murder Charlie Kirk, then he does deserve the death penalty, especially because he's met some standards in the law that, as I understand it anyway, get the death penalty.
Those are the aggravating factors, like minors were present. So yeah, in the commission of a murder in front of minors, there was some sort of political motivation or religious motivation behind it. Those are the aggravating factors, all of which, believe it or not, all come from the letter, except for the kids being present. That was just an outcome of being at an event that Charlie Kirk was at that people brought their kids to. But everything else, like it being religious, it being political, it all stems from the admission in the text messages, in the letter, in the Discord chat. Without that, they wouldn't really have that. Pretty interesting.
One of them is putting children in danger.
Yep.
And another has to do with his hatred that led to this crime. Now, I'm a believer that all crimes are hate crimes and there are no love crimes. So that one's a little odd. Also, it could be seen that if Charlie was murdered for being a Christian, that could add to the weight of the sentence that he could.
What do you know, Frank? What do you know that we don't know? Huh? I mean, were you there when Englehart wrote that letter that the prosecution read in court, even after the defense said, we object, and the judge said, sustained, and then the lawyer just is like, I'm just going to quote directly from it anyway. And then the defense lawyer got pissed. Novak was pissed, rightfully so, because Englehart doesn't know Tyler Robinson's state of mind, let alone whoever actually assassinated Charlie Kirk. This random person at TPUSA wrote a letter talking about why he knows that why he knows what Tyler Robinson's motivation was for killing Charlie Kirk, and that it was all about religion and because of Orthodox Christian values, right? And Novak was like, how the frick does this guy know what was in his head at any time, let alone whoever killed Charlie Kirk? And he doesn't. That's why the letter was not allowed in. It's total nonsense.
To actually get the death penalty for this. We'll see where all this goes. But I got a question from a very concerned husband that came in just about as the pretrial hearing was over. I'll leave the man's name out of it.
Because I think the man's name is Frank Turek. I think Frank Turek wrote this email to himself to read on here. And I think that there's trouble in paradise. I think his wife thinks he's involved in it. Honestly, I'm kind of joking, but I'm kind of not, because if you just listen to the words, this man that's having issues in the marriage and what the reasons for the marriage issues are, it's going to sound a lot like Frank. And this guy wrote like a long letter, and like Frank is like, I'll read the whole thing. I'm going to let this guy air out everything. And then I'm going to give him some advice. And it's like, it's his way of addressing the issues with his wife without addressing the issues with his wife. He's going to air it out on here and be like, honey, I did this for you. You need to go watch my show today. That's what I think he's about to happen. Frank is going to read his own letter to himself about his own marriage that's falling apart.
But this letter or this email that he wrote me might be the situation in your home right now if you're divided over what's going on. Here's what he wrote. First, thank you for the work you've devoted your life to. I have learned a great deal from your ministry over the years, and I deeply appreciate the way you defend the Christian faith with reason, evidence, and compassion. Your work has strengthened my faith and helped me answer difficult questions. I'm writing because I'm at a point of desperation, and I'm hoping you might offer some biblical wisdom or practical advice. My wife...
Does it sound like Frank yet? It gets better.
And I are both Christians, but over the past several months, she has become deeply influenced by Candace Owens' recent content regarding you, Israel, and a number of broader conspiracy-related topics.
I think his wife sounds like a smart lady, okay? I think his wife needs to follow her gut and leave.
She has come to believe that you are dishonest and you are a false teacher. And even that you are involved in criminal wrongdoing.
Me too.
She also believes that there are vast hidden forces controlling world events, governments, media, and churches.
Which there's a lot of evidence for. And in fact, in the Jay Dyer, Tucker Carlson episode, he actually covers this in the beginning and talks about like the Global Churches Committee. I forget what it's called. And that it was set up a while ago to be an NGO, kind of like the UN, but to control Christian evangelical Protestant churches in the United States.
From everything I've studied over the years, I've reached a very different conclusion. I continue to believe you are sincerely serving Christ through apologetics. Well, I don't think any human being is beyond criticism. I know I'm certainly not.
Oh.
I have not seen credible evidence to support the accusations that are being made against you.
What's the word that Frank Turek says every single time he gets on a camera and his issue with everyone else, like Candace and all of us, he's like, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? I haven't seen the evidence. You can't make those claims without evidence. You can't just be asking questions without evidence. Sounds like this guy writing in has the same kind of evidence Tourette syndrome that Frank Turek has.
What concerns me most isn't simply that we disagree. It's that these beliefs have become central to our conversations and are creating an ever-widening divide in our marriage. Almost every discussion eventually returns to these subjects, and it has become increasingly difficult to have peaceful conversations.
I'm sorry.
Let me pause right here. It reminds me of the proverb that talks about one of the things God hates, and that's someone who causes dissension among the brothers.
Okay, so what's messed up is if this isn't Frank's wife and this is a real person writing in, he's like, your wife's a problem, bro. What does the Bible say about people that cause dissension amongst the brothers? Bro, marriages are more important than friendships. What the frick are you talking about? He's like, your wife is a problem. If she's causing issues with you trusting me, that's a problem. Okay, the Bible says so. You need to put her in her place because we got to be on the same page as brothers. Yeah, brothers don't have a covenant together like we do with our wives. Bad advice, Frank. But I also think that's why he's talking about himself, dude. He's talking about him and his wife. Mrs. Turek, you should just come over to the good side, to the light side. Watch Candace, continue to watch Candace, watch me. We'll help you doctrinate yourself from Mr. Tactical Glasses over here.
All right, let me continue. I've tried listening carefully. I've tried asking questions instead of arguing. I've tried examining the evidence together. None of it seems to help. The more evidence I present, the more convinced she becomes of the evidence itself as part of the deception. It's like, yeah, there's no way of winning here, right? In fact, if you think that all evidence is part of the conspiracy, there's no way of getting outside of that to show that the conspiracy isn't true. There's no way of unfalsifying that. That's the problem.
They both have the same Tourette syndrome. They can't go 4 words without saying evidence. Holy smokes. I think the case gets stronger by the minute that the dude wrote in is Frank Turek.
Or falsifying that, I should say. All right, let me continue with this gentleman's question. As Christians, we're called to seek truth, to test everything, and to remain humble. I'm struggling to know how to do that while also preserving my marriage. I'm not writing you to ask you to defend yourself personally. Rather, I'm asking how a Christian husband should respond when someone he loves becomes convinced of claims that seem resistant to evidence or meaningful dialogue. How do I continue loving my wife well without constantly arguing or silently affirming ideas that I sincerely believe are false? I've also wondered whether there can be a spiritual component to this kind of situation. Scripture.
Oh, no. He's getting to his wife is demonically possessed or oppressed or something. There's spiritual warfare going in. I think my wife has a demon in her. Frank, don't say that about your wife. We think you're the one with the demon, and your wife's the spirit in her. The Holy Spirit is telling her, giving her discernment that you are evil. Like I said, Mrs. Turek, come on over. Our chat's bigger anyway.
Speaks about deception, discernment, and spiritual warfare. But I want to be careful not to simply label someone I love. I don't want to respond with pride or anger. I want to respond with truth, grace, patience, and wisdom. Man, this lady has a very thoughtful husband. Let's just say that.
You can't make this up. This is what I'm saying. I think it's Frank. He's like, oh man, this lady has a very thoughtful husband. I mean, he sounds smart. He's got the same Tourette syndrome I have. We both focus on evidence that doesn't exist, but we say that it's so much. It's a mountain of evidence. And he's saying and I'm saying it's like, oh, Frank. You could just come out and say that your wife thinks you did it, that you were part of it, or that you were lying about the drones, or you're lying about FaceTiming your son-in-law. She would know that, actually. She would know that. Candace pointed that out today. Yeah, a grown man married is in the middle of the day, not at work, has just all this time on his hands, but not enough time to go to the event. Just enough time to FaceTime daddy. Daddy, can I be on the phone? Can you put me on the phone and just take the camera, Charlie, so I can hear everybody? Because we know like phone audio systems are just the best, especially when there's all of this background noise of people going, ah, and they're like, USA. It was like nonstop. And then you have all the audio issues. Can you imagine how bad it would have been on the other side of that FaceTime? And he just was on there the whole time. In fact, Frank forgot to hang up and just put him in his pocket. But then he changed into scrubs. How did the phone get out of the pant pocket into a scrub pocket if he forgot it was there? But then later he gets to Salt Lake City and he's in the hotel and he's like, oh my gosh, 8 hours. I'm still on FaceTime. You know, if he were to hang up, your son, then it hangs up for you too, dude. So you're saying that your son just stayed on the line the whole time? What the frick was he doing? Yeah, it didn't happen. You were FaceTiming Ben Shapiro, bro. That's who. Because we're going to get into his excuse for why his story differs from Brian Harple's in the car. And his excuse, his reasoning is stupid. That's what happens when you get a bunch of stupid people to participate in a crime. In my opinion, everything I'm saying in this show is my opinion, not a statement of fact. It's just my opinion.
He goes on to say, our marriage is under real strain because of these differences, and I honestly fear where this could lead if we cannot find a healthier way to communicate. If you happen to read this and have a few minutes to offer advice, or someone on your team could point me toward a message, article, or resource that addresses situations like this, I would be sincerely grateful. Thank you again for your faithful ministry. May God continue to bless and strengthen you and use your work to draw people to Christ. Excellent question and a hard problem here. I like this man's attitude that he wants to love his wife, but he's wondering how can he deal with his wife, who seems to be immune to evidence, that no matter what evidence you give someone, it's more evidence of some sort of conspiracy. There's no way to.
Someone should clip this video of his. I'll tell, not right now. Please don't leave. Okay. It's called Help. Conspiracy theories are ruining my marriage. Oh, that's funny. He doesn't even say in the title, he's not talking about someone who wrote in. Hopefully in the description, he states that he's not talking about him, because here in your title, it looks like you're talking about you, Frank. And that was my assumption. Actually, 37 questions to consider. You didn't say it's someone else's questions. Dang. Yeah. Well, okay. In the description, it says that he responds to questions from other people. But I mean, that's just a cover for, I don't want to out my wife on this. And so I'm just saying it's someone else. But I was saying that if you clipped how many times this dude said evidence in the last 10 minutes and 37 seconds, it would be a funny, very funny montage. And you could really make it look like Frank has Tourette's, and every time evidence, he just is talking. He just like evidence, and he just can't stop. Same with the guy that wrote in.
Falsify that belief. So maybe what I did is I sent him a bunch of questions that he might want to ask and then sincerely listen about.
Here we go.
And maybe some of these questions can help you think through what's been going on.
Please.
And if you're at odds with somebody you love who is on a different side of this, maybe these questions can help. I don't know. I'll just offer them. One question I might ask immediately is, what evidence would you need to see to know that the conspiracy you believe in is false?
I'll tell you. Me, pick me. Ooh. Me. Can I go? Can you just show me one video that's clear? Just one. That would at least get me partially there. One video of Tyler Robinson's face on campus with the timestamp and the date. And then I'm like, dude, he might have done it. I mean, at least he's there. At least we can have something to go like, that definitely is Tyler. Can you just show me one? Okay. That's the thing. Candace and me and other people we're not like they're making us out to be like, oh, we just love conspiracies because we're making so much money and they're just so interesting and so fun and it's just like the best. No, it's like literally we're looking at everything and we're like, oh, what? Blurry photo videos, not time stamped, edited out. You see him limp. He's not limping. There's the rifle. There's no rifle. Where's the rifle? It's there. It's in his leg. No, he just bent his leg. He switched legs. What the heck? That's his car. That's not the same car. It's got different exhaust pipes. It's got different front body trim package than his actual car. Can people rent another charcoal gray Charger? Sure can. Sure can. I see him all the time. Sure can. I would just need to see one piece of evidence that doesn't come from Lance Twiggs's personal testimony. Okay. Just one piece. Just can you give me one piece that is not suspect? Like even the ballistics came up and they were like, dude, the ballistic it is the bullet from the gun. It's a 30-06. And then she gets up and she's like, nah, 0.286 to 0.301. 30 caliber is 0.308 to 0.4 something, not even within the range. Oh, okay. And the DNA, what about that? There's like 6 of them. I don't know. Tyler's is the most degraded too. You'd think it'd be the most fresh since he's the one that supposedly held it last before the FBI touched it. How about you just give me one piece of evidence, man? And then I will at least entertain the possibility that Tyler might have been there on campus that day and done something. But you guys can't give me one. You can't give me one piece of evidence. That's the issue.
What evidence would you need to see?
I just told you.
Because look, if Tyler Robinson really did murder Charlie Kirk and he acted alone, the evidence that you saw in the pretrial hearing is quite damning.
Nope.
Is all that evidence the product of a conspiracy?
Yeah.
I would just ask that question. Let me go to some of the questions that I specifically sent him. And I'll start with this one. Remember, he's asking this to his wife. So you might say, honey, if someone murdered me, your husband, would you want Candace to treat you the way she's treating Erika?
If my wife acted as weird as Erika has and been caught lying about things and actually benefited the most from my death, yes. And if my wife stopped staying home and raising my kids, who are both under 4, yes. Yes, I would. I would want someone to investigate. Yes, please. Please do. Am I the only one? Bueller? Please, anybody, somebody. Matt, curious if you've ever seen Arlington Road. The plot twist is a great example of something you said earlier. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. Don't spoil it. I'll put it on my list. I probably have. I just don't remember like names. Arlington Road. I'll look it up. Thank you. Hey, you. Let's get back to this moron.
And just see what she says. Now, she may go into this big rant about how Candace is looking for justice. And I forget all that for just a second.
Oh, forget the justice.
Let's just concentrate on Erika. Erika Kirk, the widow.
The emotional asset.
Why is she insinuating that Erika Kirk and her organization is complicit? What evidence does she have for that?
All right, here we go. Buckle up, Frank. Take some notes. All right, so when Charlie and Erika were alive, everything they said together publicly, and when she went and spoke at private women's leadership summits, she said the traditional Christian housewife's role, especially a young mother, so early, like 3 years married. Is that pretty young? That's pretty young. Kids under 3.5 at the time of the assassination, is to stay home, be the guardian of the house, raise the kids in the ways of the Lord, and homeschool the kids. Okay, that's one. Her mom, Lori Franzfey, and actually I found some evidence, and hopefully we'll get to it in a little bit. She's benefiting a lot from the assassination. It's crazy. Superfeed Technologies is just working its way up in TPUSA and Turning Point Action. It's pretty crazy. But Erika also lied about a lot of things. She said there was no text the night before. She said it didn't exist. And then Candace proved that it did exist. And then she said, oh, you're right. I didn't know you meant WhatsApp message, like messaging app service. I thought you just meant text message, iMessage or whatever. Okay, he did say that, but he said it in the other message. She just lied about that. She had Ben Shapiro on when Ben Shapiro and Charlie didn't like each other. Ben Shapiro was on the phone with his security team when he was transporting him to the hospital. You were probably on the phone with him. You, Frank. Let's see. She forgave Tyler 11 days after, before we had any proof of anything. That's weird. 5 days after, she's like cheering in the headquarters in a work Zoom phone call meeting about how excited she is, how much, she wants to do TPUSA 2.0. Everyone should stop doing emails that Charlie Kirk sent. And now she's the fearless leader. And then after the memorial, right, she's congratulating everyone on the biggest event of a lifetime and how Charlie'd be happy. She's focused on like numbers, merch, everything else. What else? She did the whole lying about the neck of steel. She made up that story. She made up the story about the neck of steel. She goes on Barry Weiss, says, yes, I do. I do believe it. I believe it because I'm part of the prosecution team, and they've shown me everything, and everything proves it was Tyler. Okay. She also allows Barry Weiss to ask her questions about like Israel and Jews, and it's brain rot. She says it's brain rot. And then you allow her to have Hunter Kozak on, who clearly had some kind of foreknowledge. He's part of this in some way. And you're like, hi, buddy. Good to see you. Frank likes Hunter Kozak too. Hunter Kozak was back at the UVU event that they did 6 months after the assassination. They're chummy. Frank and Hunter Kozak are just good pals. Hunter Kozak's family is part of Jimmy Kimmel, the show. I forget I think it's like his dad or something, has something to do with that show. And we know what Jimmy Kimmel said. But what else did she do? She filmed a casket scene like that day or the next day and then posted it on social media. Oh, man, there's so many. There's so many. You guys could even write in more that I forgot. Send it in and I'll read it. What are other things that Erika has said or done since September 10th that point to her having maybe foreknowledge? All of the flights are weird too, right? Like, where was she? Was she in the hospital with her mom getting some sort of medical treatment? We don't know. We don't know. When did she get on the ground? Did she wait for Andrew Colvett for an hour before she goes to the hospital to see her dead husband? Seems like that's what they're telling us. Okay. Let's read this. Has Turkey debunked Ben on the phone in the car? No, because Ben admitted it. How do you debunk that? Like, Ben is saying, I was on the phone with the security team. He doesn't say that he's on the phone with Frank. So technically, Frank has an alibi because Frank, we don't believe, is part of the security team. He could be like a covert part of the security team for that day. He never went to previous events. That's his first event he ever went to. But it's either like Dan Flood, maybe Rick Cutler, maybe Justin. But Justin should have 10 and 2 on, dude. He's driving 100. We were going 60, 80, 90, 100 miles an hour down the road. Justin, you better have 2 hands on the wheel, bro. It was someone in the car. I mean, it couldn't have been Brian Harpole, right? He's putting in 36 feet of gauze, and he's like hanging out the car. And Rick Cutler couldn't have done it. He's got 2 hands on Brian Harpole, and we know that he's not doing anything bad because he's got a tattoo. He's one of us, right? So he's got his 2 hands full. Rick Cutler holding on to Brian. Brian's got his 2 hands full because he's doing 36 feet of gauze in the neck like a kitten. And then we got Dan Flood. It could have been Dan. Dan's on the phone, supposedly cutting intersections. He's like, go, 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 go. Red, red, red. Green, green, green. Left, left, left. Right, right, right. And Justin's got 2 hands on the wheel, so it couldn't be him. That's why I suspect it's Frank, because Frank's in the back going like, we should just pray. And so Frank's like praying out loud. That means he has 2 hands free. He's just praying out loud the whole time. But the last 30 seconds, Frank is like, man, I should do something with these. What do I do with these? What do I do? Oh, CPR? okay. And then he starts doing CPR only in the last seconds, 30 seconds. He didn't get that thought before. Brian and Rick and Dan, even though based on Gary Melton's own testimony in the X Space the other night and said, hey, what is it? Care under fire or something like that. I forget the phrase, but it's like, no, we do combat care and that's different. Well, so you're telling me Frank is like, I'm going to do CPR, but that's completely contradictive to the type of aid that Brian and Rick and Dan were trained to do in a combat situation. But Brian's doing this. Frank's doing this. Frank's like, okay, I'm going to do CPR. And and Brian and Rick don't go, shut up. We're not doing CPR. He's got a gaping wound in his neck. We have to stop the bleeding. Frank doesn't say that Brian or any one of them stop him. He says he's doing chest compressions while Charlie's butt is in between the two captain seats. Okay. He's doing chest compressions while he's still praying out loud the whole time. He's praying out and he's giving mouth to mouth. But Frank is going to tell you in a minute, it's okay that their stories don't match up. That's actually proof that they haven't got their story straight. He said, eyewitnesses never get the same specifics correct. That's because everyone pays attention to different things. Eyewitness accounts always differ in the little differences. This isn't a little difference. This isn't like what color were the seats, okay? This is like, what were you all doing in the car while somebody that you said is like your son is bleeding out and dying? Brian says, you were not ever giving CPR. You're saying you were giving CPR, and Brian and Rick had to have let you because Charlie's in his lap, Rick Cutler's lap. That's where Charlie's head and neck is. And Brian is right there in that captain seat, supposedly leaning over, putting in all the gauze. And that means they would have to allow you to get up in there to do chest compressions and mouth to mouth. And they didn't stop you. Okay. Sure. Keep digging a hole, bro. Keep digging your hole. All right. Erika couldn't even remember how long she was married on her anniversary. Charlie had to remind her. That was so cringe. Yeah. She couldn't even remember the dates of other things too. Was it like the birth dates of the kids? Like she was like trying to recall everything. She was like, and what? And Charlie was just spouting it off. He just like named all the dates. And he looked at her and he was like, dang it. I should never have listened to James Kaddis. That's where I went wrong. James Kaddis, Rob McCoy, and Frank Turek, Jack Hibbs, Greg Laurie, they all told me it was God's divine plan that I marry her. They said I wouldn't be blessed if I didn't marry her. They said TPUSA was going to just be so blessed once I married her. Man, if I just wouldn't have listened to them. Yeah.
Would you want her to jump to that almost immediately after the murder?
Yes.
Would you want her to jump to you almost immediately after the murder? Second question. If God forbid Candace's husband was murdered, would Candace want Erika to treat her that way?
If Candace was doing and saying all the things that Erika has done, I would say yes, because then it would be very suspicious. That's the thing. It's not because Candace doesn't like Erika. It's not a personal thing against Erika. It's that Erika has said and done a lot of weird things that only point to some kind of guilt, foreknowledge, covering up after the fact, changing Charlie's legacy. Oh, he loved Israel. He was not changing on his views on Israel at all. No, he really didn't like Massi in the end. He wasn't going to endorse Massi at all. Charlie actually wanted to go to war with Iran. You guys didn't know that? He was for regime change. 10 seconds later, we play a clip. Charlie's like, nope, if they do regime change in Iran, we should all be like, have caution and be like, oh, Trump has gone off the wagon. Yeah. It's because she's lied a lot, bro. Like provably lied a lot.
Number 3, if you witnessed a murder of your friend and best student, as I did.
He's not your student. Oh my gosh. Notice how they can't help themselves. He was my son. He was like my son. James is like, he's my little brother. First, when he said that Charlie was his mentee, now he's saying he's his student. You were his teacher? You were Charlie's teacher? Sorry. A teacher that's dumb and corrupt can't teach a very smart, ethical person anything. Okay. Just can't. I haven't seen anyone talk about the weird hug she gave Trump at the memorial. Yeah. I mean, okay. The weird hug with Trump, the weird hug with JD Vance. Like, we know for a fact she's known Trump longer than she knew Charlie. Okay. He was the one running the Miss Arizona pageant. She got called by Tyler Boyer to be at the 2014 rally right behind the podium. I mean, it's kind of weird. All these people have connections. We found out today on Candace Owens that Charlie's personal assistant that was hired in March of 2025 is the grandson of the guy who gave Charlie that donation that Candace was told and Candace confronted Charlie about, and it split them apart. You just can't make it up, man. You can't make it up how, like, wow, they really all do know each other. That's weird. After watching Candace's show today, this is what I wrote it down. Maybe I don't know if I should I'll just get to it now because I don't know that I've pulled up Candace at all to play her part. I don't think I did. Hold on. Maybe we should, but I don't have it timestamped. So, but if you guys watched Candace today, man, I'll just say what I got to say. If a lot of these wealthy and rich individuals that were politically connected, right? Like the person at Bank of America, Merrill Lynch in Chicago, the two people that Candace showed their photos of today and referenced, okay? Charlie built something that none of these people could have ever built on their own because they're old, they're out of touch, they're not charismatic, they're not articulate, they're not honest, okay? These people buy their way to the top, rub elbows their way to the top. It's all about, like, you know, you look at like Emmanuel Macron, right? He just knew the right people and just got given a job because he knew the Rothschilds, right? Like, what is his name? Trudeau. It's like they're all born in the same lab somewhere. All of them have no skills, nothing to contribute to society, and somehow they just make it to the top, okay? And once you make it to the top, nothing is ever enough. You want more money, more power, more control, more influence. And the more money and power you get, the more you want to use that money and power to get more. And then you see Charlie Kirk, this young, charismatic, intelligent, articulate, ethical, honest individual actually doing things because he's convicted to do them, honestly. And they're like, we need that. We need that machine. As Erika put it in her speech at CLS, she was there. You weren't there. You were still on some pageant. You were Summer Nights, Bravo dating show. You were still hanging out with Cabot Phillips and JT Massey. Shut up. You weren't there. But anyway, these wealthy, connected, political people with lots of money and power saw this machine that Charlie was building, saw that it was going to rival the RNC someday. And they realized they needed to donate to have influence and control over the organization. The more you donate, the more influence and control you can have over that organization or that individual, right? Each donor has someone that represents them in the meetings, okay? The more you give, the more influence you have in those meetings. Also, once you give a lot and you have a grandson or a granddaughter, and that person, you can ask Charlie, can you hire my grandson? Like in 2025, can my grandson be your personal assistant? You kind of have to do some things you don't want to do sometimes. Charlie realized that at the end, and he was like, dang it, it's a little too late to get out. He tried to get out, but I think it's these guys that made Charlie hire their brand new, granddaughter, this one girl that was there for the first time that year, and then Charlie's personal assistant, because now you have someone on the inside. Now you have someone that had no business being there at the event. He supposedly flew with Charlie to be his personal assistant, $10,000 seat on that airplane, then lands with Blake, doesn't go to the entrepreneur interview, stays behind with Blake in Provo to, mark time. Don't know what that means. So he flew out to assist Charlie, only to not assist Charlie, but to sit in the car and wait and stare at Blake Neff. Make that make sense. And now that guy was toted out on the Charlie Kirk show in the days and weeks after, telling his whole story about the event. What a weird thing. And his grandfather is the guy that was part of the reason that Candace and Charlie stopped talking for a period. You just can't make it up, my man.
Would you want Candace to treat you like she's treating Frank and Charlie's other friends?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Number 4, are you presuming people are innocent until proven guilty? By the way, I'm just offering questions here. I may make a few statements, but it's just questions to think about.
He's making fun of her. How can you say that statement and not realize you're doing that to Tyler Robinson? How can you say that statement about being innocent until proven guilty and not realize you're actually the biggest hypocrite in the world? There's more evidence that like Israel and TPUSA and Andrew Colvett and Integrity Security Solutions and you and Erika Kirk are involved in some part of this in some way. Even if it was compartmentalized and you guys have plausible deniability and you didn't know the full part and you were told this, but now it's that. All of your behavior on that day, you even being there is weird. And then all of your lies, your stories not matching up, inconsistencies, discrepancies from people that were there. Blake goes, I'm not an eyewitness. What? When Blake was asked, what were you doing the morning of the September 10th event? He goes, I don't know. How do you not know? What are you talking about? You don't know. Why would I remember that? Because we all know exactly what we were doing that day because it's like etched in our brain.
Number 5, what's the only way we can achieve justice? Is it by speculation or by evidence?
Evidence.
Number 6, what are the 3 motives for any crime or any sin? There's only 3 major categories of motives. What are they? I'll offer an answer here. It comes from 1 John chapter 2, verses, I want to say 15 and following.
Mm-hmm.
All that's in the world is the lust of the eyes, the lust of the flesh, and the boastful pride of life. Sex, money, and power are the 3 great motives for any crime. So if you're going to suggest that someone's guilty of a crime, you've got to find one or more of those 3 motives. We've talked about that at length on this program.
Interesting. The only one of those that we can't point to and say for sure that Erika has benefited or was motivated by is sex. But the money and power, Erika has benefited the most. She gained the most individually out of this whole thing. She gained the most power and the most money out of anyone by a long shot. It's not even close. Not even close. And then there's other countries, institutions, and other individuals that also gained a lot of money and power from this event. Okay? And it's not Candace Owens. It's everyone at TPUSA.
Number 7, what motive did any of Charlie's friends and employees at TPUSA have to even want Charlie dead? Did they get sex, money, or power for wanting him dead?
Yep. Not for
He was their friend and very effective leader. Number 8, what motive does Candace have to do what she's doing? Look, I'm not judging her motives. I'm just asking the question. Number 9, look, I'm just asking questions here, ladies and gentlemen. Number 9, why do eyewitnesses differ on details about almost every event, especially traumatic events like murders?
Here we go.
And number 10, are differences always lies? If you want the answer to that, ladies and gentlemen, listen to the podcast we did last week when I responded to specific Candace Owens conspiracy theories, because differences are not always lies. Number 11, the differences among the eyewitnesses prove the eyewitnesses were involved in the murder or that a conspiracy exists. If that were the case, every single crime would be a conspiracy because eyewitnesses always differ on the details. That shows their authenticity. They didn't get together to iron out all the details. You know, people notice different things.
Notice that he says details. And then when he goes to elaborate on what he means by details, he's like noticing different things, like what color was the car you drove by, or like details, right? Noticing different things. Okay, the details about what each and one of you were doing in a car that's not big. You can all see each other. It's not like pitch black in there. There's a very traumatic thing happening. So you guys are all super alert. It's all being etched into your brain like forever. You're supposedly watching. You're in the back. You have the best view. Okay. So you can actually see what everybody's doing. And your story differs from what everyone else had said. It's just Brian that has spoken, but that shouldn't differ. What were you doing with Charlie's body? Were you giving him CPR? Were you not? Brian wouldn't have misstated that in the last 30 seconds of the ride, you started giving CPR and mouth to mouth. Because Brian says he's putting in gauze the whole time, 36 feet. And he said you would never give CPR mouth to mouth unless you stop the bleeding. Most important thing to do. So Brian would have freaking smacked you. He would have been like, what the heck are you doing? Stop it. Get back in the back seat. Start praying again. Which did Tyler benefit from? Sex, money, or power? Yeah, none of it, right? Isn't that funny? That's a very good point. He benefits much less than TPUSA. Yep. He actually didn't get a single one of those. And even if he would have made it still on the outside, like if he would have gotten away, like if he did it, which he didn't do it, but say he did and he got away with it. Did he get money? No. Did he get sex? No. Did he get power? No. Okay. You got to be consistent, Frank. Well, you can't expect people that are dishonest to be consistent. Shame on me.
They notice when, especially in a traumatic event, they may notice certain things and they may not notice others. They may focus in on certain things.
You don't think you're focusing in on Charlie's body? Who's doing what to Charlie's body and where in a 10-minute car ride? You just conveniently come up with a totally different account for what happened in the car than Brian. That's not a minor detail. That's a major detail, buddy.
Number 12, what are the requirements necessary to pull off a successful conspiracy? Conspiracies do occur, but what are the requirements to pull off a successful one? If you want to know the answer, J. Warner Wallace in his book, Cold Case Christianity, talks about some of the requirements.
Actually, this is where we're going to cut to the audio. I can't play the video, all right, because I get dinged every time I do, all right? But you'll be able to hear it. Once I start playing it, just so that I know for sure you can hear it, start giving me a thumbs up or a thumbs down that you guys can hear the audio playing in the background. This is Jay Dyer and Tucker Carlson, all right?
The story is what they'd actually been up to.
You could write Our Man in Havana, but you couldn't actually write what you did in Havana.
Exactly. Yeah. And then you'll find these fascinating nuggets. You know, Joseph Conrad's The Secret Agent, which was one of the first.
Okay, sorry. The backstory is they're talking about how a lot of the British like secret agents back in the day weren't allowed to actually like write about their real stories from when they were in, but they were allowed to make fictional books about them. But they had a lot of truth in them. And then it's going to lead into the main part, but it just gives a little context because you'll see how it transitions.
There was one Revolutionary Era spy story, I forget the name of it, but his is sort of the most well-known, The Secret Agent. And you've got like the states using anarchists. There's a false flag event. Like you've got these principles in these fiction stories, which seem to match up to reality. So I just found that fascinating that you would have all this in fiction. And then that sort of blurs the line between reality and fiction, sometimes intentionally, because audiences will watch things and it will sort of embed in the subconscious. And I'm not trying to be, again, I'm not being schizo about it. Like you're getting programmed whether you know it or not, but I don't think all plays in fiction are bad. I'm just saying people don't go to Argo to realize they're watching propaganda, but they're watching propaganda. Does that make sense?
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's why it's effective. So one question that appears in fiction and raises speculation in real life. And it's a very specific question, and you may know the answer. Is there evidence that intelligence agencies of any country have used, or criminal organizations in any country have ever successfully carried out assassinations using crazy or suggestible people who don't know they're participating in it? Which is to say, like, lone gunman shoots public figure. Lone gunman is actually a tool of some other organization, doesn't know he's a tool of the organization. He committed the murder, but he did so maybe unbeknownst to him at the urging of some other group. Sirhan, for example. Is there any evidence? Do we know that's actually happened ever?
I think it's very obvious that it has happened. I don't know what the standard of evidences would be to say with absolute certainty in a specific case. You know, people talk about Marius van der Lubbe, that he was used, you know, for the Reichstag. People talk about, as you said, Sirhan. I mean, you could say Oswald perhaps was. There is such a thing as false flag recruitment, which is where people are recruited into thinking that they're working for this group, but they're actually working for this other group. Right?
That's correct.
So that does occur. And I think that if you study assassinations and how they're conducted, they don't happen often, but they do tend to use, you know, crazy people or people that are very suggestible. So I think that's definitely probably 100% goes on. I mean, we had what was Shinzo Abe was one of the most recent, other than Charlie Kirk, obviously, you know, assassinations. That there was some weird things with that in terms of usually political ideologues or religious ideologues are very useful for these types of operations. So yeah, I think especially with JFK, even you've got significant evidence. If you look at the person of Angleton, and if you look at what came out in the JFK files, like he was literally just passing all kinds of information to the Mossad. It's in the JFK files. There's like four pages were about his secret relationship with the Mossad. And I think there was a confluence of interests, as you said, with organized crime, CIA, and Israeli interests all sort of had the motive in regard to JFK. But I think that's a recurring pattern, is to absolutely contract it out to either organized crime. I mean, Murder Inc. began as a Jewish assassination squad that was used by not just Sicilian mafia, but also at times the U.S. would contract out and use these people for operations. If you want to get rid of somebody, just use the gangsters. You're not going to do it yourself. So yeah, that's well known. I think if you look at Operation Underworld, where the CIA was using organized crime for many years.
How much evidence is there that the CIA, do you think, has an active role in American politics now?
All right, I can't keep playing that too long. But so Frank Turek's going to have you believe that it's so crazy. Conspiracies, they do happen, but I mean, the likelihood, I mean, they're so intricate. It's just so not likely. It's not probable, you know. Freaking Frank, dude.
To pull off a successful conspiracy. Normally, it's got to be, I'll just mention a couple of them, not all of them. It's got to be a small group of people, because the bigger group of people, the more likely you're not going to be able to hold the lie together. Secondly, it's got to be people, or it's better if people are more closely related, because you're not going to rat out your mom or your dad. Or
that's interesting. Closely related. It just so happens you all seem to be not necessarily related by blood, but you're what someone said is like your chosen family.
Your brother or your sister. Number 3, you can't have a lot of pressure. If you have a lot of pressure, somebody's going to break. Turns out that the requirements, and there are others, the requirements for a successful conspiracy don't appear to be part of the Charlie Kirk murder.
They do. But you would say that if you're part of that conspiracy, Frank. That makes sense.
But anything's possible. The question is, what's reasonable? What does the evidence show? Number 13, if your response to evidence is that all evidence is fake because it's the product of the conspiracy, how could you ever discover you were wrong? And you wound up letting the real murderer go. How could you ever discover that? If no matter what evidence is presented to you, you assume that evidence is fake.
No, we just need one, dude. Can we just start with one piece of evidence that's not blurry? That's not, how did they get it? Why is it edited? Why is it trimmed? Why is there no timestamp? Why is this wrong with it? Can we just have one piece? Can they just present one piece of evidence that we don't look at as people over here and go like, what? How are they able to get away with that? Not one, not one piece. All right, let's hop over here because he just rambles on for a minute. Let's hear what this moron says over here.
Christ can forgive us for what we've done, then we can forgive anybody for what they've done.
Can Erika forgive Kaddis? She forgives Tyler for killing Charlie, supposedly, but she won't forgive Kaddis. Okay.
I know this sounds odd. I've never felt any bitterness toward Tyler Robinson.
That is
not
weird.
Because I'm better than anyone else, but just because
because he knows he didn't do it. Because you know he didn't do it.
I know this is a fallen world and people do evil things, yet God has brought good from this horrific evil and will continue to do so. And I know
I got to stop because he plays the casket scene like right after this. Wait, where does it start? At 152.
Charlie is right now. I know where he is. We're the ones.
You don't know. Well, I mean, like we do know, but you don't know anything, Frank.
And Rob and I both reached out to her because we love her. And
yeah, we know that. Why do all of you guys love her so much? James Kaddis. Where's James at? Hey, James, where's your roto scooter? Jamie boy, where are you? Here we go. James is going to be in an upcoming episode. Stay tuned. It's going to be good. But I found something of James. Quiet you. All right.
Charlie and Erika Kirk's pastor, James Kaddis, he has been in that courtroom all week.
Isn't that weird? How is Rob McCoy Charlie's pastor? Frank is Charlie's mentor and teacher. James is Erika and Charlie's pastor. There's a lot going on here. It's like, I do know Charlie did say Rob was his pastor like once or twice. I don't know that I heard Charlie say James is, but I believe that if anyone was Charlie's like pastor, it was probably this guy. This guy's the one that like made Charlie marry Erika, then did their premarital counseling, and then is like a business partner with Erika with Proclaim and Bible in 365. Why are they all Calvary Chapel pastors? Why do they all have these suspicious things in their background? Why are they all Zionists? Is it connected? I feel like it has to do with Israel. Does it have to do with Israel? I think it does.
Pastor Kaddis, welcome to you, and thank you so much for being here.
We call him James Kaddis because that's what it sounds like every time he walks.
Do share with us what it has been like in that room.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here and to talk to you. It's been difficult. I think as we've been spending time listening to the evidence being presented, as we've been considering the many things that have been spoken again and again and again, it's been a very, very difficult reminder of the pain that was felt that very first day when we heard of what had happened to Charlie. And I just have to say, right.
Wait. That makes me want to jump here. We're going to finish him. But while we're at it, the pain of that day, let me make sure I get this. This is on September 11th. Let's see if we can see the pain. Tell me if you can see the pain in their faces.
I think he was secretly mad we weren't streaming last night,
Wait, what's that? Oh, I didn't back up far enough. Hold on. So you're telling me you're all smiles on September 11th, and then you say Charlie's mad, secretly mad that y'all didn't stream on the night he was assassinated? That's weird. James said you guys were all really sad. Can I see the sad? I don't see the sad. This is as sad as Andrew gets right there. He's like trying really hard. I think he's got tweezers. He's got a hole in his pocket, in his leg, and he's like plucking leg hairs. You know, he's trying really hard to look like his eyes are filling up with liquid, but they're not.
Yeah, do it all.
Say, keep going, do it all, do everything, be everywhere. That was Charlie.
I think he was secretly mad we weren't streaming last night. You know,
I 100%. We all had the same thought at the same time, that we all know that when something big is going on, when
something big. So the context is Charlie was murdered. This is less than 24 hours later. And they say Charlie is secretly mad we didn't record last night. He secretly wished we would have. Okay. Not take one day off. And then he goes on to say that we were all talking about it and he's laughing 24 hours later. Make that make sense.
something big is happening.
Well, Charlie, the other thing, he says something big and he's referencing something big in the last 24 hours being Charlie's assassination. And that big thing should be the thing that they're talking about. Okay.
Kirk would be like, let's get in there. Let's go live stream it, get it up, make sure we get the Rumble live, make sure it's all going. We got everybody in freedom@charliekirk.com, freedom@charliekirk.com. Make sure you're all signed up, subscribe to the podcast. And that was Charlie, right? Because he just wanted to gather people together. And I actually think that's sort of Charlie's mission, or maybe it was his great skill in life. That
these guys make me sick, man. Make me sick. Let's go back to James Kaddis.
Right off the bat, that I'm extraordinarily proud of the Kirk family. I'm very, very proud of Erika.
How funny. That's the picture they chose. Erika and James did that on purpose. Holy smokes. If you guys are avid watchers of this show, you know that during one of their Bible in 365 episodes, they play that and they are talking about him, and that is their favorite photo of Charlie. Supposedly, you know, because James is in it. Thank you, Mystic. Wait, did I miss any others? How far behind am I? Oh, I am. Let me get to this one. Renita Sophia. Frank is short for Frankfurter. Frankfurter. He's a wiener. That's where they're hiding Brigitte Macron's wiener. It's Frank. There it is. We were wondering where it went. Thank you, Mystic, for the 5 Black Line Brief memberships. All right, let's get back to James Kaddis.
I'm very, very proud of Rob and Kathy. I think they're extraordinarily strong people, and the strength that I see in them continues to be an inspiration to me, and I hope the rest of the country. But it has been very difficult, but obviously a necessity to be able to see justice happen. And we're very grateful to the Lord that he's opened up the kind of doors for us to be able to do this, as albeit the timing is very delayed, and sometimes our timing isn't the thing that we have to be thinking about. It's more along the lines of what God wants for this situation. And I think that that's what we're all doing. We're putting our faith and trust in Christ, understanding and knowing that it's in his hands, and that justice really truly belongs to him.
Yeah, well stated. Pastor, is this good for you to be there? Does this help you?
I think that's a loaded question because it was very painful. It was very painful to lose Charlie.
Why are these guys so bad at this? He's like, that's a loaded question. You didn't tell me you were going to ask that. I need to cry now. And then he tries and doesn't. He shook that off really quick. He fought those tears back really quick.
I do think that there is some catharsis in the sense that being able to see justice play out the way it is, and being able to understand what is actually happening and what's been in front of us, especially because of the many lies that have been broadcast on camera, typically online in the the online troposphere. It's been very, very difficult to be somebody who's in the middle of it, who knows these people very, very well, who's very close to these people, and then listening to the lies and the misinformation that continues to be communicated.
Wait, are you saying you're not impartial? Are you saying you have some bias? Yes. What's that other one? Confirmation bias. Yes. It means do you have financial investment in Erika doing well? Oh, yes. Bible in 365 and Proclaim. Okay. So we can't get the truth out of you.
And sometimes, look, I just have to say, I think sometimes when you see these types of things happening online, it's people grieving in their own way. I just wish that we would be able to look at this a little bit more level-headed and understand that this nation lost somebody great, lost somebody very, very special. And I think the responsibility that we have is to see the good that can come out of it. I certainly know that's Erika's view on this.
Holy smokes, you guys. Did you guys know we're watching a miracle right now? Did you guys notice his nerve condition is gone? He's not doing this at all. He hasn't done it once. He said that's a nerve condition. That's why he does this when he's doing Bible in 365. He can't control this. It's a nerve condition. We just watched God heal him right there. He hasn't done it once. That makes me believe he does it for theatrical effect when he's on the pulpit and when he's a pastor, when he's doing his Bible in 365. He also does it in all of his other videos where he's functioning as a pastor, and he does it when he's on stage as a pastor. So it's something he does when he's a pastor to make you seem like he's so convicted. The Holy Spirit is just working through me. But it's not now. It's not right now. Where'd it go? Oh, James, hallelujah, you've been healed. You should be jumping out of your roto scooter and like dancing like, I've been healed, my nerve condition's gone.
That she understands what the world meant for evil. God is certainly taking it and using it for good. And, the crying and the tears and the pain that we're seeing is something to be very, very much expected.
We're not seeing any of that. What are you talking about? The crying and the tears and the pain. Do I need to pull up the video 5 days after where she's like, hi, emojis. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I've been waiting so long for this. This has been like 10 years in the making. I had to lock myself in my room twice and pretend to read the Bible for 9 months. What was I doing in there? I don't know. I don't remember that I dated someone and I lived in China. She's just so excited to be here. She just can't hold it.
But I do find it somewhat cathartic in a way to be able to understand that things are playing out the way that we hope and expect to be played out. We don't carry any bitterness in our hearts towards the killer, but we certainly understand the fact that justice is necessary, especially the way our country works and the way our system is wired.
Pastor Kaddis, we really appreciate you joining us this morning.
Thank you, sir.
It's an honor.
Yeah,
truly an honor.
God has blessed you.
He has. You don't even know it. He was healed and you just watched a miracle, but your faces are so plastic you can't see. Let's see if maybe in the last couple seconds his nerve condition might come back.
In many ways. And you've just shown that. Your ability to communicate is extraordinary.
So good.
Thank you, sir, and stay strong.
Wow.
Thanks for coming on today.
Well, I'm so grateful. And I just want to say that, our prayers are with the nation. I think that's something that Erika is thinking about as well. Her heart is for the people and has been. And we continue to pray for everybody that's watching. This is tough for everybody. And we're just asking for God's will and strength through this.
Amen to that. Thank you, sir.
And he is healed. Mother Teresa is now Mother Erika, and James Kaddis is healed. And this lady's having a seizure. What's wrong with her face? Holy smokes. What is going on with these people? Look who I found. I found Erika's boyfriend. I found Cabot Pizza Phillips with Jack Posobiec. Were you at Fort Huachuca, Cabot? Your alibi didn't check out. You're gonna put on a show with Jack Posobiec? All right, here we go.
The testimony of Lance Twigg.
Oh, that was really loud. Hold on. The last audio was really low.
Who could have provided an alibi. Let's not forget that. Lance Twiggs could have said,
hey, he was with me the whole night. And in fact, that gun that you guys were looking for, it was stolen and we haven't seen this thing.
Yeah, but Jack, if Lance was the one actually planting it, if Lance is the one that actually did a lot of this, they weren't together because Lance was the one planting the gun. Lance was on the campus. And we're going to cut to the picture of Erika's brother in a second that looks a lot like the guy in the stairwell.
And it's gone now, and we can't find it. So, I don't know what you're looking at. And no, he didn't do that. He stepped up and told the truth the same way that Tyler Robinson's.
This is not the dude in the stairwell. Look at his nose, his ears, his jaw, his lips, his hair. It's not the same guy. Not the same dude.
Parents who were also in the courtroom told the truth. And while that evidence wasn't presented, they didn't testify, but we know, of course, that they played the instrumental role in calling their son in.
Why was Cabot Phillips even there? He didn't even say anything. I got to find that full episode. I only found this small clip. I'll find the full episode, not today, but I got to see if Cabot Phillips has been making, he works for the Daily Wire. That's awesome. Let's see if somebody sent me the video. Or the photo. No. That's not it. No. Hold up. Who's that? No, that's not it. Okay, let me Google it. Or not Google it, but let me type it into the search bar. Could this be it? Oh, interesting. Wait, let me make sure there's no weapons in this. Oh, no, just a tactical vest. What do you know? Yeah, I would say let's go back and forth. All right, let's look at his chin, his lips, his nose, his ears. He's got a hat. He's got glasses. Watch out. Lance Twiggs might identify you. You wear a hat. You got sunglasses. Huh. 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 I think it's a better match than Tyler Robinson. That's for sure. That's for sure. Let's see. Where am I at? I got to pull some things off of here before I get sidetracked. Let's see. Sorry. I got too many things up on the screen. I got to clear things off once I've played them. All righty. All right, hold on. Bear with me. I'm sorry, guys. Where is the one that I'm playing now? This is it, right? It's on the screen? It is. All right.
Hearing in the Charlie Kirk murder case wrapping up this week, but despite what prosecutors say is overwhelming evidence against Tyler Robinson, the judge could wait until potentially September 1st to decide if the case goes to trial. The Kirk family releasing a statement saying, quote, as difficult as these last few days have been, it brings our family comfort to know that the world has witnessed the overwhelming evidence of what occurred to Charlie that day. With us now, Dr. Frank Turek, Charlie Kirk's mentor, who was in the car with Charlie during his final moments.
At least be honest. He was given CPR and he was praying out loud the whole time. Come on, give him his credit. Right? He's the one that told the security team what to do. Brian Harple and Rick Cutler and Dan Flood froze under the pressure. They just didn't know what to do.
Good morning, Frank. So let's talk about, we all, the country watched. This was quite an avalanche of evidence. Your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wait, hold on. An avalanche. They realize that saying overwhelming over and over and over again makes it not overwhelming, especially when we're watching it and we're like underwhelmed. Okay. So what did Frank say in the clip that I played? Slam dunk. It's a slam dunk. Now it's an avalanche. It was a mountain. It was a mountain. Then it was overwhelming. Slam dunk. 90% could be thrown out. 10% would still convict. Now it's an avalanche. Man, who's writing their scripts? Also, is Frank bald? Does he usually comb over the other way? And he forgot. His wife and him are fighting. So she usually checks him before he goes out of the house and gets on the camera. But they're not doing good right now. She thinks he's involved. So she looked at him and was like, I'm going to let you go on camera like that. Because his hair looks different and he looks bald. Beak. There it is. Right here. See? It's not usually like that. It's not. I swear. Oh, it is. I just didn't notice. Just kidding. I clicked back over here. He is that bald. It's just I didn't notice. I didn't notice. All right. My bad. Go ahead. Go on, Frank.
Griff, I mean, not only do we have video evidence, we have confessions from Tyler Robinson in 3 different ways. I mean, he confessed over text. He confessed in a written confession letter that he left for his roommate / lover. And he also confessed verbally to Lance Twiggs.
And no one else was around, and the notes got burnt up, and we don't have any metadata or confirmation that those were sent by him or who even sent them. We don't know, but I love that they just quote this as like established fact. Lance said so. The most convincing eyewitness testimony ever based on the prosecution and TPUSA. They just really believe Lance.
So it's just an avalanche of evidence, Griff. And normally, as you know, people will plead within 30 days of being arrested. We're at 10 months yesterday.
What does that tell you? Most people that are guilty of something within 30 days eventually plead. He's at 10 months and has not. What should that tell your brain, Frank? Maybe he didn't do it.
Griff. And we don't even have a plea. We don't even have a court date. What we have is a date for when the judge is going to say we have probable cause. Griff, we had probable cause in the first 10 minutes of this hearing.
Why aren't you a judge, Frank? You should go be a judge. You could do it so much better than him. You should call out Judge Graff for the moron that you think he is, that you looked at this evidence and you said avalanche, probable cause met, convicted, death, go. Good thing you're not a judge, Frank. Thank God you're not a judge.
Monday, there was enough time to go to a trial.
Monday.
Or enough evidence to go to a trial. So I know that
you guys remember the testimony that happened on Monday where the guy was like, he gave conflicting testimony on the seat than he did in his story, his written testimony. He said on the day of his written testimony is that he's up there on the Hall of Flags. He heard the shot and he just knew because he heard it and he knew it sounded like a rifle, that it came from a distance. So he looked, he scanned the horizon and he's like, aha, the Losi Center corner. That must be where it came from. And it took him 30 minutes to run his happy fat behind down the steps and like 130, 150 yards. 30 minutes it took him to get over there. That's the story. Okay, because in the story that he wrote, it doesn't say that he went down there, was like trying to help out with the scene. And then he's like, oh, I found this empty gun holster. And then I was like, oh, well, no, they got the shooter because they got, George Zinn. But then we found out, no, it wasn't him. And then I realized, well, that must not be the gun holster to the gun. Then I panned and then I was like, oh, I'm going to walk over there. And then he walks over there. And right when he gets to the top of the stairs, he goes, body cam off. And then it turned off 27 minutes later. I mean, so from the time of the shot is when he activated it. 27 minutes later, he finally gets to the roof at the Losi Center right before he gets on the roof. So we don't see all the things that he says he sees. Well, no, they took photos later. We don't see the body cam. The body cam goes off and he finds the screwdriver. And then when he's questioned about it, she's like, why did your body camera die? You guys know those hold a charge for like 14 to 18 hours, right? Because you guys could be on a shift and then something can happen and then you guys have to stay on. So why did it die? He goes, I don't know. It must have died, maybe. Malfunction, maybe. He doesn't even know. But it charged this morning and you checked it out in the morning and it was fully charged, right? Mm-hmm. Don't know. Things just happen when you're framing someone. Like body cameras just die. That guy took the stand on Monday. He also is the guy that when asked about the video footage of freaking Eagle Boy jumping off the roof, and what's her name? Catherine Nestor asks, "Can you see what's in his hand?" He goes, "Yeah, it's a rifle." She goes, "Wait, what? You see a rifle?" And he goes, "Well, you see like this long pointy thing, under something." And she's like, "Under the towel or blanket?" And he goes, "No, I can't tell if it's a towel or a blanket, but he could tell that what's under the thing, that he can't tell what that thing is. He knows what the thing underneath the thing is." And he's like, "Yeah, and it's like long and it's pointy and it's like in the shape of like a rifle." And she's like, "Well, so let me get this straight. You do see a rifle?" And he goes like, "Well, it's like a rifle. It's a rifle." That guy took the stand. And then freaking Agent Hole, I don't know if it's Hall or Hole, the guy with the worst cotton mouth and like chubby cheeks and a fat tongue that was driving me nuts because I have misophonia, and they have the mic turned up way too loud for everyone. This guy lies on the stand. He omits, right? When they're talking about the freaking camera, the Ring doorbell footage of Tyler's car, that he's saying like, "Yeah, Tyler was there. We have it on camera, and it's Tyler Robinson. He's by himself, and that's when he comes back, and we got it." And then Catherine gets up and goes, "Well, did you not read the testimony of the married couple whose house the Ring doorbell camera's from?" He goes, "Yeah, I think I remember something like that." She goes, "Do you know what they said they saw?" And he goes, a bald middle-aged dude and 3 occupants get out. Not anyone that fits the description of Tyler Robinson." He goes, "Oh yeah, I think I remember they thought they saw that." Okay, so you want us to believe Lance Twiggs. Lance Twiggs' testimony is lock solid. Lance, Luna, Twiggs. He didn't get anything wrong. But this married couple who have nothing to gain or lose in what they saw or didn't see, you think they missaw or misremembered what they think they saw. And he left it out. And she goes like, "Why didn't you say that?" And he goes, I don't know. Yeah, that was the testimony on day one. It sucked. And Frank would have you believe they met probable cause on day one. That's Frank. Frank. He's unbelievable.
Judge is being cautious because he doesn't want to be overturned on appeal due to some procedural error. But it really seems he's kind of going overboard with the caution here.
It has been shocking, Frank, to the whole country that this trial may not even begin until the 1-year anniversary and beyond of this tragedy.
What's wrong with this dude's head? Is this guy a real person? His right ear is not the same as his left ear. His head, is he a cone head? What is wrong with this guy? This guy doesn't look human. This guy's a body snatcher. There's somebody else inside of him. Have you ever seen all the videos of all the news broadcasters that like pass out when they're on stage? I have a feeling this guy's might pass out. He doesn't seem real to me.
The victim's family statement in support of a speedy disposition for getting this moving says this: the defendant is entitled to a fair trial and he must receive one. He is not, however, entitled to cause undue delay in the criminal justice process. The victim's family is independently.
Wait, who wrote this? Jeffrey A. Neiman. Neiman, Mays, Flock, and Almeida, PLLC, Brennan Moss, Utah bar number, Parkinson, Benson, Potter, address, attorney of Erika frickin' Kirk. I wonder why he would say this. Oh, this is the letter that we never saw. A prompt determination is imperative in the interest of justice. The court is approaching the 1-year anniversary of Charlie Kirk's death. 10 months have passed since the defendant was arrested, and the preliminary hearing has now concluded. The defendant is entitled, and that's this part. What does it say up here? Through undersigned counsel and respectfully request that this court promptly enter its probable cause determination based on the overwhelming. We wonder who started. It was Erika Kirk. They got their talking points from Erika Kirk's lawyer. The overwhelming evidence presented during the 5-day preliminary hearing. I'm going to need to see the rest of this letter. Can someone find it and send it to me? What else does it say? Let's let him. Maybe he'll read more than just this 2 sentences.
Entitled to a speedy resolution. It brings me, Frank, to just, I can't begin to imagine how difficult this is on the Kirk family.
Yeah, I was out there in Utah with the family and with the TPUSA team. I was not allowed into the courtroom because no eyewitness, according to the judge, was allowed into the courtroom. But I can tell you it is very difficult for Erika,
I want to know what other eyewitnesses were with Frank in the hotel room. Maybe, you know, I don't know. Yeah, I wonder who was there. I forgot I wanted to play a clip where Andrew Colvett lies about where he was on the day of the 10th. I'm going to get to that in a second. I forgot I had that. Real Marie Blonde, thank you for your super chat. Keep going, Max Matt. Stay forever sarcastic and witty. Love your show and the BLB community. Your commentary is the only way I can listen to these goons. Yeah, me too. I do it for both of us. Hey, you. Thank you. All these liars seem to forget that the jury will be looking at the same video. We'll see a gun or Tyler's face. Now, all they need is reasonable doubt. That's all there is. It's like a lot of reasonable doubt.
Mr. and Mrs. Kirk, and also for the entire team who was out there to support Erika and Mr. and Mrs. Kirk. It is extremely difficult to do this. It has to be done, quite obviously. Everyone deserves a fair trial, innocent until proven guilty. We don't believe in smearing people or coming up with conspiracy theories that have no basis in evidence.
Wait, I don't have it bookmarked, but I get these ideas when I'm in the show. I mean, Erika Kirk just said on Sunday at the CLS convention conference thingamajig, she was like, the man who murdered my husband. She's like, I was just in the courtroom with the man who murdered my husband. That doesn't sound like innocent until proven guilty. That doesn't seem like not slandering, defaming, and tainting the jury pool. That seems like all of those things. Maybe you need to go have a talk with Erika. Maybe you did and she forgot. Maybe you need to do it like every morning. She's like a Stepford wife. She just keeps forgetting.
Evidence. Notice how the defense, by the way, didn't try and advance any of the conspiracy theories out there because there really is no evidence for them. And so evidence is necessary for justice. I just think that it needs to proceed a little bit quicker because, as you may know, Griff, there are some high power attorneys running up the bill there for the defense that they're using taxpayer dollars for a defense that is really grasping at straws right now. There's so much evidence against Tyler Robinson that we ought to go to trial very quickly. And I'm afraid it's going to be probably next summer before the trial starts.
Frank is a witness and shouldn't be talking. There's a gag order. That's one of the reasons why you're not allowed in the court. You guys are eyewitnesses to the assassination. You guys shouldn't even be talking. Why are you all still talking?
Well, hopefully sooner than that, as the country watches on. Dr. Frank Turek, thank you for your insight. We're going to continue to follow this at every turn. Thanks.
That's what I have to say about you, Conehead. All right. I have to find the part where he actually says that he was at the Wi-Fi studio filming live on the 10th. We know that's not true. Conehead on Fox, my only belly laugh today. Yeah. You know, those aren't for for all of us. I mean, most people don't watch Fox News anymore. Some people do. They're like in their 60s and older, maybe. If you're one of them, it's okay. But you should stop because they're not giving you the news. They're giving you propaganda. Conehead McGee should just be like, on face value, like, I'm not going to listen to this guy. Just look at him. Okay. Well, I want to play the part where Andrew lies because I forget which episode. You guys can refresh my memory. He pre-recorded, Andrew Colvett pre-recorded either with Kash Patel or Nick Shirley. It was one of the two. I remember that. It's one of the two. Kash Patel, Nick Shirley on the 10th. He's going to make it seem like he was there filming an episode live. Well, that's not true. You were in Santa Barbara. No pregnancy pictures of Erika. Yeah, there is. I've played him a bunch. What are you talking about? Yep. You don't see the belly, but you see a very, very plump Erika, like extremely plump. And the only reason why she was that plump twice, right at the time that she was pregnant with Gigi and Mac, is because she was pregnant. Okay. There are pregnancy photos of her. It's just her belly's down below the desk. You can't see it, but you see her face. And it is, you know, unless she had some sort of like allergic reaction to something, like maybe she's got a peanut allergy and she just couldn't put down the peanut butter. I don't know. No, she was pregnant, you guys. Charlie's not going to have fake children. Charlie's not in a fake marriage. Those kids are his. Okay. I've seen too many videos of him interacting with them, specifically Gigi. And you'll never convince me that he was not really married to Erika, that he didn't really have kids, that they're actors. You're never going to convince me of that. You can have that opinion. I won't. Not ever. Charlie was real. Okay. That's my opinion. He was real. These two idiots are not. These two. Boom, boom. Tweedledee, Tweedledum.
A choice I have to make. Do I need to, gut check? What do you think? Do this or do that? He'd say, do everything. Do everything.
Yeah, do it all.
Say, keep going, do it all, do everything, be everywhere. That was Charlie.
I think he was secretly mad we weren't streaming last night.
I 100%. We all had the same thought at the same time, that we all know that when something big is going on, when something big is happening, Charlie Kirk would be like, let's get in there, let's go. Live stream it, get it up, make sure we get the Rumble live, make sure it's all going. We got everybody in. freedom@charliekirk.com, freedom@charliekirk.
All right, that's the part I already played. Was it way back here? Dang it. I don't want to make you guys listen to these idiots longer than we have to, but I want to hear that.
I mean, I'm holding up as well as you can imagine. I was hosting the show yesterday for Charlie so that he could go to the campus stop in Utah.
Found it. Somebody's got to clip this and send it to Candace. We got it. He's saying he was hosting the show, not pre-recording a show, hosting the show yesterday.
For you either, and I mean, I'm holding up as well as you can imagine. I was hosting the show yesterday for Charlie so that he could go to the campus stop in Utah, and you just don't, you're never prepared for something like this, obviously. And
unless you are prepared, that's why you look so awkward right now. So weird. And they wonder why we think they're guilty. They wonder why we think they are hiding something. It's because you're lying. You're lying. Oh, I found the full clip of Jack Posobiec not remembering how to pray. We found it. Okay, let's go right there.
Right. Senator, where can people go to follow you and get more information that your office is putting out?
Mainly at X. It's at Sen Ron Johnson. Pretty easy to find.
All right. Thank you very much, Senator. Guys, we are getting some video now from the Charlie Kirk event at Utah Valley University. I want to emphasize that everybody needs to pray for Charlie Kirk right now, just right now. And I'm going to say it on air.
Oh, here we go.
In the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into heaven.
Temptation. You want to go to heaven, Jack. You don't want to say lead us not into heaven. That's a weird Freudian slip. You don't want to go to heaven? Your master's down below? You want to go down below? I want to go to heaven, Jack. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Come on, Jack. You can do better than this. You are a Navy intel officer. Man, you suck.
Lead us not into heaven. Lead us not into temptation.
There it is.
Deliver us from evil. Amen.
You found it.
Charlie Kirk is a very close friend of mine.
Ah.
And I want him to be as okay as possible.
Stay
frosty.
Stay frosty.
Say a prayer. Say a prayer right now for Charlie Kirk.
You want us to pray like you? Freaking Jack. Freaking Jack. Stay frosty, ladies and gentlemen. All right. You guys wanted to see the photo of pregnant Erika. All right. Let me find it. It's like in my... Where is it? Is it in my bookmark? I think it's in my bookmarks. I got to scroll for a minute to find it, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Give me a sec. This is where, like, when I find things throughout the day, I bookmark them so I don't lose them. So just stare at my face for a second while I locate the pregnancy photos of Erika. Oh, man, I've been bookmarking a lot of stuff. There's been a lot of stuff to bookmark. A lot of lies going on with all these idiots. Oh, here we go. Found it. Okay, be careful. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. This is just one. Let me find another one. Okay. She's pregnant or just was done being pregnant. Okay. You can match up the dates with when she was pregnant and when she delivered Gigi and Mac. Okay. Yes. Okay. And I think there's another one. Yes. Okay. Sometimes when you see old photos, I'm like, who is that person? Yes. When you don't remember your past, things like this happen. There is everyone. Is everyone? Is that sufficient? Is that sufficient for everyone? Hold on. Let me pull this off screen. All right. Let me pull some of the things out of here so that I can pull up what I got to do next. All right. Oh, you know what I was trying to look up? Oh, I did show that photo already. I did. All right. All right. Before I get to the part about Superfeed, let's do a couple things with Blake Neff real quick because he's been busy. Did you guys know that he did an X space and he forgot what he did that morning? Actually, I think I have it. Do you guys want to hear him lie? Let's see. Actually, I don't know where the timestamp is, though. Yeah, that's a very long one. I won't be able to do that. I'll have to find that and show that to you guys next time. Where the timestamp is, where he completely forgot. Or wait, actually, you know what? Candace has it on. Let me pull it up just to remind you, because then we're going to play his... two of the things that he did this week. Let me pull up Candace. Candace, where are you? There you are. All right. I'm pulling it up. Hold on. I'm going fast. I'm moving. And I gotta remember where did she play the banking family? Where did she play Blake Neff's 910 Memories? There we go.
And for whatever reason, his memory regarding September 10th
is like
a day that is etched in my mind in remarkable detail.
Same with me.
Has grown fuzzy. You see, we have to remember that Charlie had an event before the event, which I said was unusual. It's like they didn't want him to land in Provo. He does this restaurant event. His last interview with a guy named Andrew Smith. He flies into Salt Lake City, not Provo. Blake Neff was on board that private jet with Charlie to Salt Lake City on that morning. Mikey McCoy was also aboard that jet. Mikey McCoy rented just 2 SUVs in Salt Lake City, which were to meet them. We know that one was carrying Charlie and Mikey McCoy and Frank Turek and John McGovern, who works in gifts at Turning Point USA. He raises money for them. And we assume security. We know it's not Dan Flood to that Savory Fund restaurant event for Charlie's final interview. But it turns out that the other SUV, when they landed, carried Blake Neff to, he doesn't know.
He doesn't.
He doesn't remember.
That's weird.
He knows he didn't go to the restaurant event.
He remembers that.
Well, he doesn't know where he did went or why he woke up early to go nowhere in Salt Lake City. Where did the SUV go? Who was driving it? What were they doing? I kid you not. Blake Neff jumped onto an X Space and is trying to sell, but he just simply doesn't remember what he did when he declined to just go with Charlie for his final interview. Take a listen. And I'm sorry in advance. There's a lot of people talking over each other. It's an X Space, so it's a bit of a frustrating listen, but you'll get the point. Okay.
So there's a couple people here that are really cool. Others that I won't even mention. Matt St. Baker's really cool, and Muppet's really cool. And then Blake Neff is right here. All right.
At the Savory Fund interview with Andrew Smith before he went to UVU.
And prior, I wasn't at that event. I was in the other SUV.
So where were you in between time? When you got off the plane, where did you go?
I was in the other SUV.
Did you go straight to UVU?
We had 2 SUVs. I was in the one Charlie wasn't in, and I was somewhere. I actually have no idea where they parked it.
That's weird.
What do you mean you don't know where you were?
I'd never been to Utah before.
So you got off the plane with Charlie, you jumped in the other SUV. Where did you go?
We went somewhere. Why would I?
You went somewhere.
Why would I remember that? Like, can you consider for just one moment that I did not know that Charlie was going to.
Did you go straight to the UVU event?
Around the Orem, Utah area. We went.
Surely you've been asked these questions by the authorities, right?
Why would I be asked the questions like that by the authorities?
Because you're a key witness to a murder.
No, I'm not. I'm one of hundreds.
Surely you can. Hang on. Surely you can remember what you did that morning.
I'm a key witness to Charlie's life. I'm not a particularly important witness to the murder.
So you got off the plane, you got in the SUV. Where did you go?
Hang on. He was right there. He was literally like feet from Charlie, not a witness.
And let me finish the question. Where did you go?
What do you mean, where did I go?
You got off the plane, you got in the SUV.
Did you go to a restaurant? Did you go to a strip club? Where did you go?
We drove somewhere, and because I wasn't going to that event, we just like parked and we marked time until the actual Utah Valley event. And then,
who else was in your car? Do you have a security guy with you?
I don't remember the specific people in my car. I believe I.
Come on, Blake.
Oh, why would I remember all of these things?
It's pretty easy. It was just you and Danny Phillip.
Ooh. That might be who it was. Yeah,
you could remember that.
He can't remember that. He can't remember that. That's weird. That's so weird. Just one more thing from Blake and Neff. Let's see what this moron spews today.
All right. We're joined now by our friend John Doyle. He's the host of the John Doyle Show over at the Blaze TV. John, welcome to the program.
All right, hold on. Actually, let me get to a couple of these super chats before I get too far behind. Andrew Colvitz, Freudian slip. Yep, everyone's processing their guilt differently is insane. Yeah, grief. Oh my gosh, I said guilt. Yes, you are processing your guilt differently, Andrew. You and Erika. She likes warm embraces from men that aren't her husband. That's how she processes her guilt. She likes to run her fingers through married men's hair. She likes to like long embraces with the president, like too long. She likes to wait on the tarmac for an hour for a man that's not her husband to go to the hospital to identify the body of her husband who was just murdered. Make that make sense, please. Did you see the X post of Jack? He's behind the Grape of Melina protest sign in 2016. He's disgusting and is paid to divide the masses. I did. We're actually going to kind of maybe get to that. Okay. Maybe, depending on time, if time permits. Yeah, he is disgusting. All right, let's continue. This guy does not deserve to have a show. Neither does this guy. Blaze, get out of here.
Thank you. Glad to be back. We want to talk about a few different things here. I definitely want to have you help weigh in with various events going on with Iran. But I know you, like us, were watching a lot of the events last week in Orem, Utah. We finally got to see all of the evidence laid out against Tyler Robinson. And certainly Andrew and I and all of us over here feel the evidence against Mr. Robinson is extremely strong. But
oh, he's pivoting. He knows not to say overwhelming. Don't say avalanche. Don't say mountain. Don't say overwhelming. Don't say slam dunk. You can't use the words. Everyone else.
As we also predicted, there's a lot of people, you know most of them, coming out to say, actually, all this evidence is fake, it's bogus, it's weak.
It's weak. We didn't say, like, I don't know anyone saying it's fake and bogus. I mean, I guess you could actually characterize it that way, because if it's not Tyler Robinson, then it is fake. It's fake and gay and bogus. But it's definitely weak. It's not strongly indicating that what they're saying it is what it is. You know what I mean? What up, Pop? Hey, you guys. This is my father-in-law. Hey, Pop. Hey, son, congratulations on reaching 20K subscribers. Your supporters are so special. Love, Pop. Thank you. I know. When that happened this morning, I think. Let me check real quick. Let's see. It is a pretty cool, very, very cool achievement, in my opinion. Yep, we're at 20,056 subscribers right now. So thank you to all of you. Thank you to Pop. Actually, like, thank you to Pop. Like, I wouldn't have a monitor. I wouldn't have this mic. I wouldn't have the soundboard. I wouldn't have the camera. My father-in-law believed in me when, I don't know. He didn't have to. So thank you, Pop. I love you so much. Miss you. I hope I see you soon. All right, let's continue. Oh my gosh, it's Blake and this guy.
This is an op job. They will never, ever believe that Tyler Robinson did it. And they seem very committed to going down with the ship on this issue. And so
we're on a sinking ship. They're not on a sinking ship. We are. And that we're refusing to go down on the sinking ship. That we'll never admit it was Tyler. No, I've made it clear. If you guys, you're part of the prosecution, as Erika put it, right? She did on Barry Weiss. She said she is part of the prosecution's team. She's seen all the evidence. They showed her all the evidence. She's seen it all, and it's overwhelming, and she knows for a fact it's Tyler Robinson. If I could just see one piece of evidence, one undeniable, indisputable, concrete piece of physical evidence that points to Tyler being on the roof at 12:23 p.m. with a rifle in his hand, you will bring me closer and closer to believing he had something to do with it. But that doesn't exist, or else they would have shown it in court, and they didn't. So I don't think it's ever going to happen.
So since you've been monitoring it a lot, I wanted to take this big picture and ask, there seems to be a sort of conspiracy right subculture, if you want to call them that. And we're trying to get at psychologically, what do you think is motivating this?
Nope. This guy has nothing important to say. I don't want to listen to him. I don't want to make you guys listen to him. I just wanted to let you hear how stupid Blake sounds. We got another clip of how stupid Blake sounds. And then we're going to go over to Jack and Brandon Tatum on the Pierce Morgan show. It's really good. So let's go here first.
We just had our chapter leadership summit in DC. I was there. Andrew was there. We had some panel discussions with kids. It was our biggest one ever. And I just wanted to talk more about it today because I think it's very important to highlight the work that Turning Point USA is continuing to do to reach the next generation. So we're joined by two people who just attended that event. We're joined by Preston Parsons. He's the Turning Point USA chapter president at Texas Tech. And we're also joined by Sophia Hunt, who is a Club America chapter president at Westfield High School. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for having us on, Blake.
All righty. Well, Preston, I think I'll start with you because I think you're a little bit older, so we'll go easy on our high schooler here. So just tell us, what was it like being at this event, thousands of other young Turning Point chapter representatives, meeting them, interacting with them? Just give our audience the feeling of what it's like to be at one of these Turning Point youth events.
Absolutely. First of all, I'd just like to say nobody puts on events like Turning Point USA does. It was a Turning Point USA event 1 year ago that completely changed the trajectory of my life and got me involved. And it was my first time in Washington, D.C. at the CLS, which was also an incredible experience to be.
What this made me do was feel extremely bad for these young kids. Oh my gosh, you guys weren't even looking at it. How long did that happen? That whole time. I'm so sorry, you guys. Holy smokes. Laugh out loud. I like it wouldn't have been a show. Wait, what? Did he just say Texas Tech? No, God, no. Please, no. Yeah, Mystic. Red Raiders, right? Sorry. There's a couple bad apples from there. One will, you're not one of the bad apples, but now I know too. All right, now I know too. Sorry, it wasn't really that great of a thing that we were going to watch. It's just I wanted to play the part where you see that these two kids, well, I'll let you see a little bit of it. They're completely brainwashed, and it's really sad. Okay.
In DC for the America 250 celebrations around thousands of other young patriotic Americans who share the same vision. It was an incredible experience and the vibes were awesome. Between the Club America kids getting to go check out Mount Vernon, the college kids getting to interact with each other and the various speakers, and for instance, my group getting to run into you, Blake, down there in the lobby of the hotel, getting to chit chat with you. But overall, it's phenomenal. And once again, no one puts on events like Turning Point USA.
Oh,
super sad. What I thought was on this one, hold on, I got to pull them off so we don't have to stare at that bald head for so long. Sorry, I didn't know I pulled up. Yeah, I didn't mean to do that. My bad. Hopefully it wasn't too long. Where's the one from today where I clipped was Jack? No, here it is. I think it is this one. Hold on. Yes, here it is. All right. This was today. All right. Let's do a poll. Let's do a poll real quick. All right. Let me get this going. All right. As this gets going, okay, let me keep it up. Anything else, people? I just didn't want to take all the time and type in all the different options. But if you want to be honest, the big thing, just all you would have to do. So Jeffy Epi counts because that tied back to Mossad, that ties back to Israel. Think about the Student Action Summit. Think about the debate with Josh Hammer. I'm talking about in the context with TPUSA, Charlie Kirk, campus events. What was the overarching main thing? No, in 2025. Last year, you guys, not what was the main thing that the youth was focusing on when they'd come to these campus events and they're asking Charlie, they're talking about it. Charlie Kirk does a sit-down focus group with Andrew Colvett. This is the only thing they talk about for that whole focus group. Josh Hammer debates Dave Smith. That's the whole thing they're talking about. Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly at the Student Action Summit with Charlie Kirk. That's the main thing they're talking about because right at that time frame was the whole bombing of Fordow, Iran, and Israel getting us involved in that. And then leading up to September 10th, this was a continual issue because then Charlie starts talking about donors. What kind of donors? Jewish donors. Then we have Bibi asking to go. We now, looking back, understand so much more. But I'm saying for sure it was Israel. Okay. All right. We're talking about the chapter leads, the students. Why would Andrew Colvett and Charlie Kirk sit down with the chapter leads in the summer of 2025? And the whole thing was about Israel. If that wasn't a major issue. It was almost like a focus group. It was almost like polling the audience. They wanted to know what the kids thought about the Israel issue. Okay. Well, at this chapter leadership summit, they just did a poll. Okay. Even any of the things that could have been anything else aren't on the list. They're not on the list. So like Jeffy Epi, a war in Iran, Israel, what else could we put on there? That was a big issue that they were talking about and were the focus of the youth before 9/10. They're not on this list. All right. They're not on this list. We have free speech. Free speech became a much bigger issue after 9/10. Right to life. Yeah, these were like issues, but it wasn't political violence. See, Second Amendment, election integrity, immigration policy, national security, cost of living, education, social media, misinformation, government transparency. It goes down. So like, as it goes down, it's less important. They're saying it didn't pull as high. All right. Which I don't know why, because it's like, is this the percentage? Like as they say it, like, let's go back to the beginning when they pull it out and you can hear how they talk about it.
Yeah. All right. So we have some polling that we did there, just getting their top issues in rank order. So it's kind of the graph is tricky. So the top is the most important. The bottom is the least important.
That's what was confusing to me too, because these are smaller numbers. These are bigger and the bar is much bigger. So I didn't know what to do with that. But they're saying this is the most important. This is the least important. Foreign. So if Israel was going to be on here, it would be here. Foreign policy, foreign affairs. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 from the bottom. 5 from the bottom. Cost of living was a major thing with the youth, with this generation. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 from the top. Okay. So the major issues that was part of the organization, like the youth, what they were focused on prior to 9/10, are not even in the top 5. Not even in the top 5. I wonder what the polling questions were. Like, I bet this was the title. It didn't say Israel in there. It just said foreign policy. They knew what to ask and what not to ask. Jeffy Epi's not in here. The war in Iran is not in here. All the things that Charlie was going max on and was getting flack for from Trump, from his donors, from those in his inner circle, didn't even make the questionnaire at the CLS 2026 conference. Seems like that's another motive. Like they just completely took the organization in a different direction. Charlie was allowing the organization to be driven by its members and like the consensus of the public. And the majority, like the issues that the majority of people cared about through their emails, because they would email, they would write comments and chats, super chats. Like Charlie would respond to the majority of his members and the people in TPUSA, Turning Point Action, chapter leadership. And that's why he would focus on these things. Now he's gone and they're not doing it at all. Yeah, I would say that could be part of the motive. All right. All right. Now we can get to Jack Posobiec on Piers Morgan. All right. Buckle up. This is hilarious.
They do now. You probably think Senator Lindsey Graham was killed by either the Russians, the Iranians, or the Israelis. In Britain this week, the appalling murder of legendary Conservative MP Anne Widdecombe has been turned into a true crime mystery by some of the politicians in her own party. All of this amounts to a sorry state of suspicion and division, which is crying out the same common sense leadership. And whichever direction I turn right now, it seems to be, frankly, in very short supply. Well, joining us now is Jack Posobiec, Senior Editor at Human Events, who's here actually in London. First time we've ever met in person.
Thank
Jack,
you so much,
welcome
Piers.
to my great city.
Oh, I came here to see you.
The capital of the world and the greatest country in the world. It's great to welcome you.
I'm not so sure if I agree with all of that, Piers, but happy to be here.
It's good to see you. Brandon Tatum, a.k.a. the Officer Tatum, Wajahat Ali, the co-host of Democracy-ish, and Brian Tyler Cohen, author of a new book, The Day After, How to Wield Power in a Post-Trump World. Well, welcome to all of you. A stellar panel, as always. Let me start with you, Jack, as you're here with me in London. This whole Charlie Kirk, it's a tragedy about what happened. Let's start with what happened to him. An absolutely tragic, appalling murder of a guy who went out of his way to try and bring people together to have free and open debate in a democracy. And it's despicable what happened to him. But what's also despicable to me, I'll be completely honest about this, is the raging, often ludicrous conspiracy theories that erupted almost from the moment he was killed and have continued to be fermented across the airwaves by people who, frankly, I think not only should know better, but do know better, but see a financial incentive in whipping all this stuff up. And all these conspiracy theories in the last week, and you were there in court, look to me like they've been comprehensively dismantled. This was exactly what it looked like. This
Pierce and Megyn Kelly are just like this.
Guy killed Charlie Kirk because he wanted to kill him. And we know that because his flatmate has confirmed all that. And we know that from all the other evidence that came out. Am I missing anything? Is there any great grand conspiracy of the kind that have been spewed out by, I'll say, the leading protagonist, Candace Owens, who has gone after Erika Kirk in a way that I find really appalling? But I also think whipping up all these ridiculous theories, surely now, when confronted by what we've seen in court, it is a time to reflect on what are we doing as a society? When a young husband and father gets brutally murdered like this, and we turn it into effectively a clickbaiting entertainment empire that can make vast sums of money spewing conspiracies which are obviously bullshit.
Well, Piers, thank you for your kind words about Charlie and even about Turning Point at the top of this. And I agree with you that Charlie was a generational talent. By the way, I should also say that absolutely praying for Anne Widdecombe. This situation seems absolutely horrific. I've been following it since I've been here.
Well, the counter-terrorism police have got involved now. And
apparently there's just some breaking, news.
Yeah,
today.
they found stuff which suggests that this person may have been motivated for political reasons.
And to me, it almost
drive
seems
300 miles to go and kill a woman nearly 80.
Well, and the same way that we learned in court last week that Tyler Robinson drove 3 hours to get to the campus. They have his cell phone data. They have the data from his car systems.
Did you guys see that in the prelim? Did you see cell phone data presented? Did you see his car data presented in the preliminary hearing? I didn't see that presented. Did you see the prosecution present the cell phone metadata? No. Did you see them present the data from the car? No. What is Jack talking about?
They have obviously, videotape and surveillance tape
obviously
that's going out. And so I can't help but worry that perhaps it's this same type of political hatred, this idea that we should use violence rather than words, which is what Charlie always stood for, that we saw with Charlie's murder has now come to the UK in this case.
Right. I want to play a clip from Candace Owens, who came back from a break this week and said this.
There is a seemingly infinite number of influencers on social media who watched the Tyler Robinson preliminary hearing last week, and they reported back to us common folk that they came away from it and they were effectively drowning. They were submerged. They were engulfed. They were completely buried by the avalanche of undeniable evidence that Tyler Robinson murdered Charlie Kirk. I mean, they were so consumed that they all just began using that exact same adjective to express themselves. It is overwhelming. In fact, that has really been the key word since last year, right? It is the new wear a mask, save lives, 6 feet social distancing. The evidence against Tyler Robinson is overwhelming.
Yep.
I mean, the problem with Jaha is the evidence against him is overwhelming. I mean, Jack himself was in court, as he said. He posted yesterday the moment Lance Twiggs, who was the partner of Tyler Robinson, agreed to testify against his boyfriend. The defense was sunk. Twiggs didn't provide an alibi or say the rifle had been stolen. Instead, he confirmed that Tyler Robinson confessed to killing Charlie Kirk, along with other key details of the plot. And I know, Officer Tatum, you were there too, and I'll come to you about this. But what do we do about this with Jahat? Because I've watched this play out since Charlie Kirk was murdered, and it's awful. It's awful. It's awful to see a widow, Erika Kirk, whatever people may think of her, to see her targeted in such a heartless, cruel manner.
The widow.
I just think is horrendous.
Horrendous.
What are we doing here as a society?
What you're witnessing is political cannibalism, and what we're witnessing is the end result of a political movement that is born off of and fueled by anger, rage, conspiracy theory, and lies. It eventually turns on itself. I want to remind everyone, because I have the receipts, that after Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered, before there was any evidence, before there was anyone was arrested, Donald Trump and Stephen Miller and the entire right wing blamed the radical left. This was the time during they unleashed the National Guard and ICE against American people and were trying to gin up a case to attack anyone who opposes Donald Trump and the MAGA movement. Then what happened? Kash Patel, who is the completely unqualified leader of the FBI, completely messed up, had no leads whatsoever. We actually had the FBI say we have no leads whatsoever. Tyler Robinson turned himself in, according to what we know, because a family member said, turn yourself in. So the only suspect that we actually have is Tyler Robinson. The conspiracy theories that have come out, the ugly conspiracy theories that you've talked about, have only come out from the right wing. In particular, but not exclusively, Candace Owens has profited off it, coming up with these insane conspiracy theories, also anti-Semitic conspiracy theories about, another shooter or perhaps Israel and other individuals, and they don't believe the case itself. And I'm looking at it and say, it looks to me like most likely Tyler Robinson was radicalized. Here is a white man with a gun. He had his own grievance, and he shot and killed Charlie Kirk. And now, from the evidence that we've seen in the past week, his roommate said that Charlie Kirk Tyler Robinson broke down crying, admitting that he killed Charlie Kirk. So this is an entire political movement in real time that is eating itself. Candace Owens came from MAGA. MAGA is now turning on MAGA. And now if there's any self-reflection and any decency, which there isn't, they would sit back and say, maybe, just maybe, we shouldn't have spread these insane conspiracy theories. Maybe we should not have talked about, QAnon. Maybe we should not have promoted Stop the Steal movement. Maybe we should not have promoted replacement theory. Maybe we should not have said that all law enforcement are part of the enemy of the state. Jack, you became famous promoting these theories, these conspiracies, these lies.
So do you mean like when? So I noticed you left out that Jimmy Kimmel said that you mentioned me. You forgot to mention that Jimmy Kimmel went on nighttime TV and said that it was a MAGA supporter who killed Charlie Kirk. I don't think Jimmy Kimmel is a member of the right. I know. I also remember that there were a lot. No. I'll let you talk now.
Jack, have the courage of your convictions. Be a man, Jack.
I also saw that there were many people saying that it was a Roy.
Don't talk over each other. Let him reply. Let him reply.
Jack, there was a
There were people who claimed it was
Let him reply.
There were people who claimed it was.
Let him reply with Jahed, then you can reply to him. Support for Uncensored comes from Dose for Cholesterol.
Hold on, let me skip that little interview or that little commercial.
Claimed that it was a groyper, that it was a member of the right. Jimmy Kimmel spread that on nighttime news. This was big news. There was a huge push about it. There were headlines about it. We debated on the show. I don't remember if you're on that exact panel, but I watch every single episode of Pierce, so I saw it. I mean, this was huge news. So to say that none of that happened, also notice that you seem to have skipped over the radical left, which we now know absolutely was responsible for this. And we even knew that before we had the identification of Tyler Robinson, because we had the etchings on the bullets. Hey, fascist, catch. Bella Ciao, the Antifa anthem. All of that evidence was out there, but you seem to have missed it.
Yeah, so you're literally doing what I accused you of doing. So thank you for proving.
Following the evidence? Thank you, yes.
Jack, listen, be a man, have the courage of your convictions.
The courage of following the evidence?
10 toes down, Jack.
Reading the evidence
is what you have
where
created.
It lies?
Wait, just let me finish. This is the movement that you have created. And this is the movement now that is eating itself.
You are part of killed Charlie.
Just let me finish, Jack. I let you say what you had to say.
Charlie
I'm almost
Kirk.
done. Listen,
that's the left.
Candace Owens is not a member of the radical left. Candace Owens is a member of MAGA.
The radical left murdered Charlie
and the
Kirk.
attack against Turning Point and
you guys are funny. So the guy saying "be a man" has got little Snoopy at his desk, and he's got a Lego set, right? The Millennium Falcon, which is cool. I do like Star Wars, but I don't have a kid's toy model set on my wall. Nope, I had to make sure. Nope, I don't. Even though I agree with him, though, like, Jack, just be a man. Jack can't be a man, though. So, I mean, it's falling on deaf ears, my man.
Erika Kirk,
a guy in a trans relationship with Antifa etchings on the bullets murdered
Jack, all I'm going to say is this. Let me finish.
That's all the evidence
and
in
then
court.
You can move on.
That's the court evidence.
There's a great quote from
That's murder, and you don't seem to care. You don't seem to care that Charlie was killed. There's an MP who's killed in the UK right now. It seems to be targeted.
You're not letting me speak.
You're blaming me. You seem more upset about me simply being here talking than people who agree with your politics, murdering people, one at a campus, one in her own kitchen.
Jack, just let me finish. I did not interrupt you. You seem like you're telling yourself.
You literally interrupted me so much that Piers had to step in.
All right. There's a great line from Godzilla. Ken Watanabe character says, "Let them fight." And I, for one, am fine with MAGA eating himself over this horrific issue. And I say, Pierce,
then you seem like you're fine with your guys killing us.
Let the investigation play itself out.
I don't hear you have 1 minute of time to say, you know what? Both sides should not be violent. Could you at least say that?
I'm perfectly fine condemning violent extremism on all sides. I've done it on Pierce's show for 2.5 years.
What was the motive?
And the number one domestic terror threat in America right now for the past 20 years is, want to take a guess? White supremacist terrorism.
What was the motive of Charlie Kirk's alleged killer? What's the motive? Just answer the question.
You tell me. What's the motive? You tell me, Jack.
I just did many times.
Interesting.
All right, let me bring in the others. You've been waiting patiently. Let me bring in Brandon Tatum, aka the Officer Tatum. You've also been in court. You posted day 4 of Tyler Robinson's preliminary hearing, changed everything. The courtroom saw the text, the note, the rifle, the DNA, and Lance Twiggs' interview. The conspiracy theories didn't survive the evidence. I mean, look, there seems to be a reluctance by many people on the conservative right in America, whether they're fearful of her or I don't know what it is, but it seems to be pretty cowardly to just outright call out Candace for what she's been doing, right? What we've seen in the last week in court from the evidence that was produced is that all this conspiracy flying is bullshit. And she's been making a ton of money doing it. It's no different in my eyes to what Alex Jones did with InfoWars about Sandy Hook, right? Peddling deliberate lies for cash. Now, I'm already in a bet with Candace for charity of $300,000 about whether Brigitte Macron is a man.
He's got the wee-wee. You're going to owe $300,000, dude. He can't even produce a photo of himself as a woman before a certain date after before the transition occurred. Jean-Michel Tragno is Brigitte Macron.
And the Macrons are suing her, and we're going to get to the bottom of that. And guess what they're going to find? She's a woman because she had 3 kids. And I doubt Candace will pay me. She'll go on a...
She does, dude. All she had to do, he, she. He's a she. She's a he, she. He's a she. What movie is that from? It's from a movie. I'll give you a hint. Robin Williams is in it. All Brigitte Macron had to do was show one photo of herself pregnant, and she could not do it. Okay. Also, she dated a 14-year-old when she was like in her 40s or 50s, and now she's married to that man. If you call Emmanuel Macron a man, which I don't. He's a weedy bitty
rant about endless conspiracy theories involving everyone involved in the court case. And she won't accept it, in other words. She never accepts anything. She just wants to peddle these conspiracy theories and doesn't seem to care to me, Brandon, about whether actual people who are grieving, like Erika Kirk, get deeply wounded in the process of all this.
Oh, you got
and again, I ask you the same question. I mean, would you condemn Candace Owens for what she's been doing?
Do it.
Yeah, I think that's an easy condemnation. I condemn anything that Candace is saying that is wrong. You know, I know her personally, and me and her are supposed to have a conversation here soon about what's going on, because I think that I think it'll be beneficial for her to be educated on what the truth is, how these processes work, how investigations work, how DNA evidence works. And as a person who know her personally, I think it's invaluable for me and others who know her to have a conversation with her. You know, I don't think that it's conducive to get out and scream her name every single day on social media. Erika's not doing it. Turning Point is not doing it. Charlie never did it, even though he disagreed with many things.
Turning Point is doing it. Erika did do it. She did it multiple times. She did it on Barry Weiss. She did it in her black hat, black, like, militant outfit the day she was like, that day. She sure did. You know what's really weird is Brandon Tatum supposedly is like a brother to her. He has her numbers. They eat lunch together. They're kids and blah, 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 blah. Him last week, when someone asked him from his audience, like, are you going to call her out? Are you going to address her? Like, are you going to contact her and, talk to her about this? He goes, yes. Yes, I am. I think so. One of you here in the audience that doesn't know her should send her this video. That's how I'm going to get in contact with her. I have her number. I'm not going to call her. One of you should clip the video and send it to her who you don't know. Because if you're watching Brandon, you're not watching Candace. If you're a Brandon fan, you're not a Candace fan. He enlisted his audience to take the video of him saying it on the video and send it to her, and that she should then reach out to him after watching the video. That's how he's going to get a hold of her. You could just call her. I thought you could just call her. Anyway, sure. Freaking Brandon.
That Candace said.
Oh, and Brandon still hasn't accepted my offer to debate him. He made that statement last week in his car after one of the days of the prelim. I tagged him. He got it. He knows. Ghost. Crickets.
I think it is important that we attack what is being said 100%. It is lies. I think the things that are being said are evil. They're hurtful. They're counterproductive to Charlie Kirk's legacy, who he was as a man and what he stands for. And I condemn anybody.
Wait, what? What has Candace said? What does anything we said have to do with Charlie? Like counterproductive to Charlie, like him as his character, him as a man. We've not said anything negative about Charlie. Just about all of you.
That's out here peddling lies when we have evidence that's unequivocal that came out in court in the preliminary hearing. It's going to be even worse if they go to trial. There's going to be even more evidence. There could be more.
How do you know that? How do you know that, Brandon Tatum? Okay, so here's how prelims work when it comes to establishing probable cause. Like, either they're so confident that the judge was going to eventually rule, fine, you met probable cause, that they saved their more convincing evidence for trial. That doesn't make sense. Because, like, then you run the risk, unless you blackmailed, bribed, or the judge was already on your side, you run the risk that you don't meet probable cause and it doesn't go to trial. Why would you take that risk? You're saying the prosecution. So once again, you're saying you've seen the evidence. You and Erika and all of you at TPUSA have seen the evidence, and you're speaking personally that you know they have more evidence that's more convincing that they saved for trial. And that once we get to trial, oh, they have more testimony. They have more evidence that's going to come out. That doesn't make sense, Brandon, because that's what the preliminary hearing is for, is to show the evidence that establishes enough probable cause to go to trial. So they're going to come out with their strongest and most, damning evidence at the prelim. And they didn't. The avalanche did not exist. The mountain did not exist. Yeah, Brandon needs to call her. He's not going to call her, though. He's a little girl.
Or witnesses. And so and the gentleman that's, I guess next to me, I don't know if the audience is seeing it the way I'm seeing it, but what a complete fool to sit and gloat and have your opportunity to say, well, I'm excited that the MAGA is fighting each other on the back of Charlie, who was assassinated for just being a man who spoke the truth. He was a good man. He was a good father. I knew him personally. And it's a shame that we can't sit here and just condemn hatred. We have to go and...
That's interesting. He said Charlie was murdered for speaking the truth. Obviously, he's not saying what we know, which is true, though, that he was assassinated for speaking the truth about Israel, about the donors, about Jeffy Epi, about the war in Iran, about Mossad, about Bibi, about October 7th, about Gaza, Palestine, all of it. Yep. I do believe that is why he was assassinated. And that they were never going to let him experiment further with his freedom and the power that TPUSA held at that point. Once they saw the stats as what was the votes that made the difference in the election for Trump, and they realized, dang, that was Charlie. Uh-oh. We can't let him have that at his disposal anymore. And then he started really turning after he was elected, and then it really became apparent Charlie was starting to question things. He kept questioning more things. He was speaking on those questions, and then the pressure got worse, and then he just said, now you guys just make me want to say more. You tell me not to have Tucker on, I'm going to have Tucker. I even want to have Kaddis on. You tell me not to have Kaddis on, I'm going to have everybody on. I'm going to have Dave Smith on, destroy Josh Hammer, just for fun. I didn't even have to have Dave Smith on. That was just for fun. I'm going to have Tucker on. I'm going to have Megan on. We're going to talk about Israel. We're going to talk about Jeffy. We're going to be talking about everything. Go Max. Go Max, Tucker. On who? On Israel. Go Max, bro. Yeah. BB calls. Hello. I need you to take TPUSA to next level. You want $180 million. I don't know how to do an Israeli accent. Like someone made fun of me the other day or gave me constructive criticism that I can't do Aussie accents. I can't do any accents. I'm not an actor. I don't do voiceovers. I'm not good at that thing. But BB calls and asks him to take it to the next level and offer money. And he's like, no thanks. I'm good. I know what that would mean. And yeah. I mean, I think the countdown started when Charlie sent BB the email or the letter. And he's like, you can do these things to help rectify the situation that you guys have created. And BB's like, can I do it with you? And he's like, no. He's like, fine. And I think that's when the countdown started. And that's when the planning in earnest started to take him out, in my opinion. Yeah. Who knew Netanyahu was Chinese? I know. That's how bad I am at that. Oh, let me get to this. Okay. Literal demons in human skin suits. The attempt to brainwash in this circumstance is just eye-opening to all their other BS. Yep, it's crazy. Let me show you guys something. Here we go. All right, let me front load this a little bit. Please respond in the chat. You don't have to give supers, but if you want to, you can, and I'll read it out loud. If you just respond in the chat, I'll read it in my head, but I just want to see where you guys are at with what you remember, okay? Do you guys remember Superfeed Technologies? Do you know who is the director and owns that company? Do you remember the FARA filing, the Show Faith by Works FARA filing on behalf of the Foreign Ministry of Israel? Do you remember the other FARA filing, the Clock Tower X FARA filing. No, it's not Don Jr. And the Clock Tower X FARA filing as well. And who is named on that? It's also the Foreign Ministry of Israel, but there's an American on there. No. Yes, you got it. Lori Fronsfee. Lori Fronsfee, Erika's mom. Okay. And if any of you, man, there's a lot of no's. You guys need to watch some of my previous episodes if you haven't. There's 100. Today's 185. Okay. I've covered a lot of this. Covered a lot of stuff. But anyway, I'll catch you up. Hold on. Oh, fourth. I'm behind. Frank reading his letter. Your take. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Frank read his own email to himself and passed it off as someone in the community. Yes. Back to what I'm saying. Okay. When Charlie wrote the 7-page email to Bibi Netanyahu telling him, you're losing the information war. You're losing the hearts and minds of Americans, and specifically Gen Z in America. What you did on October 7th, your overreaction in your response, and everything else that we found out over the last 60 years about your involvement, stealing our plutonium, having something to do with the JFK assassination, protecting PDF files when they commit crimes here, then you keep them there and you don't extradite so we can't prosecute them. What's the dude's name that was a foreign agent and he stole state secrets and he went back and took it to Israel and Israel sold it to Russia? That guy. I mean, it just was bad. And Charlie was just like, bro, you got to stop doing you, Bibi. You doing you is ruining everything. Yes, you know, the ones before you were just as bad, but you're really doing a bad job. Wrote him a 7-page email. Bibi responds. This was in May or March 2025. Bibi's like, okay, can I come on your show? Charlie's like, no. No. Did I say that in the 7-page letter? No, you cannot come on the show. I gave you everything. I even told you what to call the media company, Israeli Truth Network. I literally gave you a blueprint to fix the problem. Just go fix the problem. Bibi's like, nobody says no to me. And then he goes on a tour here in the United States. He goes on Brandon Tatum's show. He goes on all of these other people's show. Doesn't do what he thinks he's going to do, right? It just doesn't, right? Falls. Well, then move forward to the summer. That's when Charlie has Tucker Carlson on, Megyn Kelly on. He does the sit-down focus group with the student chapter leads at the Student Action Summit. That's when he has Dave Smith, destroy Josh Hammer. That's when he's also in the White House arguing against Bibi about the war in Iran. Bibi wants a full-blown war. He wants a regime change. Charlie's like, that's not what your base wants. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to lose MAGA. You're going to lose your support. Don't do it, man. Joe Kent was there. Joe Kent echoed the same thing. Charlie wins, at least temporarily. Okay, Bibi's pissed about that. All right. Then from there, Charlie goes to the Hamptons. All right. At the Hamptons, there's a pressure, scenario. Erika's there. Seth Dillon's there. Josh Hammer's there. Supposedly, it was just there to talk about Islam and blah, 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 blah. But somehow the conversation of Israel came up, and Charlie and others even described it as a spirited debate. It was a conflict. And we know it was because when Charlie then goes from there, also Bibi calls there. That's when Bibi offers, Erika's there. Bibi calls, offers $180 million to take TPUSA to the next level. Charlie turns him down again. Charlie goes to Tucker's house to film that episode. Erika's with him. That's the encounter where Tucker later tells Candace that Erika is actually really anti-Israel, like more anti-Israel than Charlie, right? And Tucker was like, nah, I didn't get the impression that she's like a closeted neocon. No, she really didn't like Israel even more than Charlie and me. I'm like, that's weird. Charlie films the episode there, talks about CIA, talks about Israel. All right. What's after that? Well, then we do have the Aspen retreat. Nothing about Israel that I know happens there. During this time frame, it takes a lot of money to raise millions and millions of dollars. and start hiring the organizations and the companies that are going to do the FARA filing and the companies that are going to actually do what's in the FARA filing. The Show Faith by Works FARA filing on behalf of the Foreign Ministry of Israel is a targeted propaganda campaign. Actually, I have it here. Let's go. Let's see. Let me get to the. All right. If you guys don't mind me reading. All right. Hopefully you don't mind me reading. All right. So Brad Parscale, Clock Tower X. Brad Parscale is the sole owner of. So this is the Clock Tower X one first. Let me do the Show Faith by Works. It's upside down, right? Show Faith by Works LLC is a separate operation reportedly led by Christian conservative activist Chad Schneider, not Parscale. Correct. That's the other one. It's disclosed Israel-backed plan involved targeting Christian churches, colleges, and events through digital advertising, pastoral resources, and a traveling October 7 exhibit. The plan was described in reporting as potentially costing up to approximately $4.1 million, with an emphasis on Christian audiences in California, Arizona, Nevada, Colorado, and potentially Texas. The filing discussed geofencing or targeted digital outreach around houses of worship, churches, although representatives later said the strategy was being revised amid privacy concerns. It didn't get revised, right? The common thread is Havas and the Israeli Foreign Ministry, but Clock Tower X and Show Faith by Works appear to be distinct contractors with distinct assignments. They are, because they target different things. All right. Brad Parscale, who's on the board of Superfeed with Lori Fronsvy. Brad Parscale is the sole owner and managing member of Clock Tower X LLC. According to its DOJ registration, the company describes its work as digital content development, messaging campaigns, and media production and distribution. Clock Tower X registered under FARA in September, literally like on the 8th, the 10th, and the 18th for these two different ones, right in the weeks and the days prior and after Charlie's assassination, for work benefiting the state of Israel through Havas Media in Germany. The filing specifically identifies Israel's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and names Israeli official Aaron Soyevich. All right. Also on there, you could actually look up the different churches, that are on that list. Now, hold on. Where's the one? Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. What is Superfeed Technologies, right? Oh, sorry. Hold on. Superfeed publicly describes itself as an app development company specializing in canvassing, news feed, social engagement, and grassroots activation technology. Its own case study page says clients use its apps for voter registration, event planning, contact collection, and political organizing. It's publicly listed Android applications, Turning Point Action, TPUSA are the top, and then it's a bunch more. All right. Trust me, I'm getting somewhere with this, right? That shows Superfeed is not only a Turning Point vendor, it has built a wider conservative political voter contact, news distribution, and grassroots app ecosystem. Let's see where. Yeah, so Israeli Foreign Ministry Affairs works with Superfeed Technologies. Show Faith by Works, Superfeed Technologies, and Clock Tower X. And then let's see. Yeah. And Lori Fronsvay and Brad Parscale. It actually said that it says that it didn't find it. And I was like, actually, I know for a fact Brad Parscale and Lori Fronsvay are affiliated with and created, owns, or operates, or is on the board. And then it goes, oh, you are right about Lori Fronsvay. My earlier answer was incorrect. Never trust AI. Because I searched primarily Lori Fronsvay, while the federal filing lists her under another legal name variation. That's right. It was her maiden name. I forgot about that. That's right. So Lori Fronsvay is the confirmed Superfeed director. Okay. So now, having said all that, let's go here. All right.
America speaks.
Real America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend. And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio.
Oh, wait. Oh, no. I wonder if the audio of the music is going to be copyrighted. Dang
Also
it.
unlock special
I don't know, we'll
experiences
see.
like virtual
Maybe I'll edit it out.
member-only auctions, and
All right, but here's the key takeaway. Now, Real America's Voice has its own app, and it is, let's see. Where is it? At the center is Superfeed Technologies, the company that builds the digital infrastructure behind the TPUSA and Turning Point Action mobile apps, along with dozen other conservative political grassroots applications, right? One of Superfeed's documented directors is Lori Franzwey. Okay, and then Brad Parscale is a separate one with Clock Tower X and Havas Media Group, Germany, which all have ties back to the Foreign Ministry of Israel. And they're all working for Israel and TPUSA. All right. And so Lori, this app didn't exist when Charlie was alive. There was an app used for Turning Point Action before Charlie was assassinated. Now they have this one rolled out. Yeah. It's just, and other people have speculated bigger connections with Lori and the assassination, Erika. And, you know, when I have Matthew Cicerone back on, he can speak more to the technology and how it is used and manipulated, and it's not a good thing. So if you know anyone, tell them not to download that app, because once you do, you can't undo it. All right? You can't undo it. Yeah. So, and then this was the thumbnail that I was going to create for a separate thing, but just to show, here's Brad Parscale, here's Erika Franzwey, and Lori Franzwey. Yeah, the power behind Turning Point and Real America's Voices app, you know? Yeah. All right, let's see. Where am I at now? I'm done with him. Let's see. Let me take some of these out of here so that I can clear up what's up here. All right. All right. We are at 3 hours. All right. So, let me pull up for the end of the day, but I think I wanted to show one more thing before we go, before we do Charlie end of the day clips. Did somebody send me the end of the day? Start at 1:30. Okay, I can play that in a second, but I'm debating. So I have a clip of Jeremy Boring attacking Candace Owens, and it's a newer clip. Do you guys want to see it? Do you want to see Jeremy Boring and what he has to say again about Candace Owens? Erika Kirk is a trained asset. Yeah, she is. Yeah, she was on the CIA, propaganda documentary film for EMPs, Yeah. All right. Yeah, let's do it. All right, here we go. It's bad. It's really bad. Let's see. I don't want to get his opener.
Have, some conflict with Candace. We'd be involved in some conflict with Candace. And my role would require me to go in and try to, deal with the situation. And many times I would walk out of the encounter convinced that I had done something wrong and that Candace had actually never done anything wrong. I wasn't actually convinced.
Look, he realized that when he said that made him look like a little bee. So I did an X post today, and I took a photo of this, and I wrote on my thoughts. And I added Ben Shapiro in there because, I mean, Ben Shapiro's not on this episode, but he's been doing it all week too, right? Where they're framing Candace as this like master manipulator, right? And that like she's just so evil and maniacal and so smart. She's the queen of gaslighting, that she can make these idiots believe that they were the one. They came in with valid issues with Candace, and they supposedly walked out going, man, it was all my fault. The eternal victims, right, of Candace Owens' brilliance and mastery of her craft over the two biggest idiots, Ben Shapiro and Jeremy Boring, like the biggest beta male, weak, sorry excuses that we've ever seen. So just watch him. Yeah. Jeremy, you're gay. Why are you wearing that jacket all the time, dude? Yeah. And those shoes and those pants and the key necklace. Ah, man, I just can't. It's your whole thing, dude. I want to rescue your dog. I want to take your dog. You do not deserve that dog.
But I had somehow been positioned. Yeah. She had moved me on the chessboard to a place of, and she does it through all kinds of rhetorical techniques.
She's so smart.
Makes herself the victim immediately, points out to you all the ways that you failed to deal appropriately with her along the way, which precipitated whatever the ultimate event was. But it is a true superpower that she has. Yeah. And she's if you add to that something that I didn't have with her, but that the audience does, a parasocial relationship, then her superpower is just magnified that much more. Everyone in public life has a parasocial relationship with their audience and vice versa. That's just it's the nature of the medium. It's the nature of, it comes with the territory. Particularly though, this has become true in the age of podcasting. It was one thing to have a parasocial relationship with Walter Cronkite. I always think about this great story that Oprah, I like to use an Oprah story because Candace has told me multiple times that she wants to be Oprah. Oprah told this story once, and it always stuck with me, that she was in a super fancy restaurant in LA at the height of her power. This is the late 90s or the early 2000s or something. She's the queen of the world. She's a billionaire. She's certainly the most famous woman in the world. And she's engaged in some conversation with some interesting someone. There's a tap on her shoulder, and she turns around, and there's a stranger, her eyes as big as saucers, and she says, "Oprah, Elizabeth Taylor just walked into the restaurant." And Oprah was offended.
Yeah, this guy's an idiot. He was like, "Okay, I don't think I'm following." And then he looks at him and he goes, and Oprah was offended. And then he goes, "Oh, okay, I'm supposed to be smiling in agreement with you." This is the dumbest story ever. I don't know why they think this is some sort of gotcha moment for Candace. It's a gotcha moment for Jeremy. He's a freaking girl. He's a little girl. He's like giving some anecdotal story of when Candace was more impressed of Elizabeth Taylor than freaking Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, Oprah Winfrey's a fraud, dude. Like, who cares? I mean, who cares about anyone famous? Honestly, I don't really get up in arms like about anyone. But it's not some sort of gotcha moment that Jeremy thinks it is. It's really stupid.
She thought, you're tapping Oprah Winfrey. I'm a billionaire. I'm the most famous woman on planet Earth. You're tapping me on the shoulder to tell me that an actress from 40 years ago just walked into the restaurant? What on earth? And she says, and then I realized, oh, wait. I beam into people's living rooms 5 days a week. They sit in their underwear. They change their kids' diaper. They nurse their babies. They have the flu and they're in their pajamas. They don't have their makeup on. And I sit in their living room with them every day. And I tell them they know my best friend's name. And they know that I'm struggling with my weight. They know that I'm on this new diet. They know that I just wrote a book. They know what book I like.
So dumb.
To see Elizabeth Taylor,
they
have to drive to a temple in the heart of town and pay an offering and walk into a dark room and look up at the 40-foot altar once a year.
You're so gay, Jeremy.
Twice a year if you're one of the biggest movie stars in the world. And what she was describing there, although we didn't have this language in the vernacular in the same way that we do now, is the nature of a parasocial relationship.
You're not
Elizabeth
smart,
Taylor has a
though.
parasocial relationship with her audience. Of course she does.
God, I can't do it, you guys. That's it. That's the most I could do with this guy. I'm sorry. He's a freaking idiot. Andy's gay, so whatever. All right. Feel bad for his wife. I feel bad for Frank Turk's wife, Rob McCoy's wife, Greg Laurie's wife, Jack Hibbs' wife. No, I don't know. I go back and forth. They chose to marry him. That's on them. Thank you for the 5 Black Line Brief gifted memberships. I appreciate it. She doesn't deserve to be a Kirk. No, she doesn't. Not at all. All right, let's get to the best part of the night. Charlie Kirk clips. Let's see. Hopefully, me wife, you don't have any with music. All right. Hopefully, no music. No music. Can't play the music.
GPA to her because she's a woman of color, please?
Do it.
Oh, well, you want me to give you a? Well, I mean, I can. Would you be willing to do that?
Yeah, sure.
You'd be go. You cool with that?
Yeah,
So,
I'm fine. Wait, you mean
I want you.
like, tell her or like
no,
give it to her?
by force.
Like we're swapping it.
Let me tell you what I'm going to
Okay.
do. By force, white man.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to take your GPA. I'm going to give it to a woman of color.
Okay.
You're cool with that?
I mean, yeah, I can just work back up. Like,
there's no working
Hey,
back
bro,
up.
I can pull myself up by my bootstraps.
No,
What do
there's
you
no
mean?
working back up.
What do you mean you can't work back
you're
up? That's
only-
the whole point of
No,
conservatism,
I'm
isn't it?
going to keep on taking it from you because that's equity. And you're cool with that.
What?
'Cause
But that's not
this is equity in practice.
Equity isn't taking. Equity is applying the equal standard.
If you give, how do you get? You must take and then you give.
Wait, what do you?
Can you give your GPA?
Gosh, some of those people are just not that bright. You know, Charlie was just one of a kind.
Anything that she could do that would make you not vote for her?
Yeah, I think if she first a lot of her positions from the Democratic Party move more to the
so
center,
like
of
saying
course.
that she's for fracking when she was against fracking,
Talking about Kamala Harris.
fracking.
or
I
saying
don't.
that she was like against
like-
the electric vehicle mandate when she was for the electric vehicle
I'm
mandate.
talking about issues that I care about more than fracking,
like
abortion and
got it.
like gun control.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Is there anything that she?
Okay, got it. Oh man. Hold on. Let me. Ready?
What is your Starbucks order? You've been carrying a Starbucks cup around.
That's
all
a
day
great
today.
question.
It's tea.
What do you think it is?
Somebody said green tea.
Someone said soy milk and
Somebody
soy milk
said
latte.
chai.
That's not chai. I literally drink this for one reason, because I lose my voice very easily. It is literally just Mint Majesty tea with 2 honeys.
Yeah.
And I drink like 9 of them a day. Otherwise, I lose my voice. So now you know the Starbucks order.
My question is,
Is that the last one? Oh, we got one more. We got one more.
waffles.
Oh, pancakes all day.
No.
100%.
No.
Well, first of all, I think waffles get so soggy so quickly.
What does a pancake have to offer?
Taste, texture,
Mm-mm. They taste the
beauty.
same.
No, it does not. No, they're not
The
taste the same. No.
squares.
No. I mean, is there anything more beautiful than just a stack of pancakes on a Saturday morning?
A stack of waffles.
No, see, first of all, they don't stack well. They're kind of like always piled. You ever see that? They just
They're
pile.
more flat. They're squared.
No. And then secondly, I know it's too much crunch. It's just, if I wanted that, I would just have a bag of trail mix.
Trail mix compared to waffles?
Yes.
That's absurd.
It's about the same level.
No. Okay.
Are you a Waffle House person?
I live in California. There's,
Okay.
but I've been a couple times. Yeah.
Yeah, stay away from waffle.
Pancakes or waffles?
Stay away from Waffle House. All right. Takeaway. Charlie says, stay away from Waffle House. Okay, you guys. All right. Let me see where we're at. I got to all the super chats and everything. If you guys haven't done so already, please do me a favor and hit the like and the subscribe. It's the best way to help support the channel. And let's see. If you guys want to donate, you can donate to the buymeacoffee.com/the Black Line Brief. All right. All right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight. Love you guys. God bless you guys. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. God bless. Bye.